We have good news in Formula 1. Sergio Perez. Let's see if we can... There. Here we have. The title doesn't say it, but in this all information they give information of Sergio Perez is still in Redbull. And let's see if we can find it. First we were Verstappen, Ricardo. Yeah, why stick with Perez? Yeah, so they will at least, like I said yesterday, that they might wait at least 2 races if they have an upgrade, and if Max Verstappen can clearly see that the car is good now, and Sergio Perez is still bad, then I believe they will remove Sergio Perez. I mean, then they can clearly see the driver they had before, the same driver. They can see if the upgrades is working or not for him, and then they can do a decision, then remove him, and then it's like, okay, did the upgrade work for I mean, if they change to Daniel Ricciardo and he also is bad, I mean, was the upgrade, or was the Daniel Ricciardo always this bad? Who knows? But yeah, Sergio Perez will stay. Many people may think the constructorship and the championship is maybe lost now. Maybe constructorship 100%. But I mean, I would agree the constructorship would have been gone, over, if McLaren didn't fuck up so many times. If they took every win that they should have, then I would agree. But because they don't, and Mercedes are taking the wins, it's like, really? Is Red Bull really, like, do they really need to be worried that McLaren is good when they are fucking up so many times? I mean, every race weekend is like, oh, it is another race when McLaren didn't win. I mean, where did they lose it? Did Norris lose it in the first lap? Maybe. Did they lose it because they didn't get a good start? Maybe. Was it because they pitted early? Who knows? Did they pit late? Maybe. But they didn't win the race. And also, Max Verstappen finished ahead of Lando Norris last race. Let's see. Have we done it more races? Let's see. I mean, last race 100% he did. Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, yes. Let's see if we take Hungary. Okay, they finished Max Verstappen behind. Oh, Great Britain. Yeah, Max Verstappen finished ahead. Austria. Yeah, Lando Norris DNF'd. Max Verstappen finished the race, so he got some points. This is Spain. He won the race, and Lando Norris behind. In Canada, Max won, Lando Norris behind. So only race was on Miami a long time ago. Lando Norris finished ahead. Lando Norris, nope. That one more race that Lando Norris finished ahead. So this is the only race when he clearly finished ahead. And Miami. So it's like, do they really need to be worried about the Lando Norris when he's finished even behind in Belgium when people thought McLaren would win the race? I don't know. Let's see, 18, 20, 22, 24, 30, 36, 40. So I would say Red Bull slash Max Verstappen can be worried. But how McLaren are doing, probably not. And after the summer break, Red Bull might be good again, so... And McLaren have lost their chance to maybe win one more race this year. I mean, they would be sad if that's true, but... I mean, when they could have won a race, they didn't. So if Red Bull becomes good, instead that just the information that McLaren will never win a race then. So... yeah, but let's see what the other people think about the stuff. We have F driving mock update. What Red Bull needs to do next with the Autosport. So let's see.
After an intense Belgian Grand Prix, the 2025 grid has taken shape with two big driver announcements. Carlos Sainz has announced a 2-year deal to join Williams after rejecting offers from Audi and Alpine, with a second announcement shortly afterwards from Red Bull that Sergio Perez will stay with Red Bull for the rest.
I mean, that's, I would say, I mean, I want Sergio Perez to stay in Red Bull. I don't want him staying in Red Bull if he's continue being bad. But I am hoping that he will stop being bad. So for me, I really want to still see him in Red Bull. And who knows, he can maybe become good again.
Rest of the season, despite...
I mean, it's depressing. I mean, his start was what Red Bull want. And then he fell off. It's so weird. Like, what happened? So Perez, please, blink if you want to leave Red Bull.
Tense speculation that he would be out of the car.
Right,
First up, Carlos Sainz. He's signed a deal, announced a deal with Williams that will take him from Ferrari to Williams for next year. Alex, did this come as a surprise to you?
No.
Sort of yes and no. I mean, we'd long known that Williams was trying to get Sainz. You know, the sort of Sainz's interest in the Sauber Audi project. Obviously, with that lack of results, had sort of had gone away. But Williams itself got a bit frustrated that Sainz was not willing to go. Okay, yeah, actually, I'll sign the deal. You're my choice. There we go. He had his head turned, as we know, by Alpine, Flavio Briatore.
And maybe a lot of copium that he can maybe join Mercedes or Red Bull, but I don't know, why would Red Bull or Mercedes want to pick up him when they can just keep Perez for Red Bull and for Mercedes bring in Antonelli and bring him up to speed for 2026.
Turning up back in the paddock very controversially, making a big offer to Sainz. You know, the potential, the massive changes. He's obviously got that vision for the team, it becoming a customer engine team, and probably getting Mercedes power units if he can get sort of all things done with French employment and unions and all the laws in France. If he can get that sorted with its engine plant, that's the sort of big hurdle towards it becoming a customer. But anyway, that potential was there for Sainz. He was like, right, I just want to take a long time to think about it. And Williams sort of going, well, actually, hang on a minute, just commit to us or don't. Like, they're not willing to sort of just be passive in this. They wanted to be, as Audi said earlier on in the season, a player. But in the end, Sainz coming back towards that side, I think ultimately the trump factor there is the stability at the team. You've got James Vowles, proven track record.
I mean, they have a clear future. Audi / the F1 team Kick Sauber they can have a future, but it's not super clear how good that will be or what will happen. With Williams, you know what you get.
Mercedes, in terms of his role as a strategy engineer and sort of wider strategy, sort of motorsport wise, big programs there. Plus, you know, the fact that he seems to be doing okay as a team principal from what we can see. So yeah, I think that combination plus the fact that Williams too have got a Mercedes engine for 2026, it's not a massive surprise that they are sort of the best of the bad options for Sainz.
Ronald, we know that Carlos Sainz and his management team were talking to pretty much every single team in the F1 paddock. What do you think was the final nail in the coffin, or the straw that broke the camel's back that made him sign for Williams over the other teams, specifically Audi?
Well, I think there are two main factors in this, and I would like to pick up where Alex finished, basically, because it is true, it is the best of the bad options, because that's why it took so long. Let's be honest about it. Carlos said many times, I feel like I'm in the shape of my life. I want to be in a competitive car for 2025. So that's why he was waiting for something to happen. Basically,
he waited for something that will never happen. Him getting a seat in Mercedes and Redbull. Betty Magnanta. Okay, the blockfish.
Waiting for Maax, because if Maax would make the move to Mercedes, he wanted the Red Bull cockpit. If the Mercedes job would be there for him, he wanted to take that, but there was no movement whatsoever there. So then he had to make his mind up between the teams that were really chasing him, Alpine, Audi project, and Williams. And then I think that he made the right decision. If you look at all the turmoil going on within the Audi project, then you don't want to be involved in that, I reckon, even though the relationship with Mattia Binotto is a good one. Same with Alpine. Maybe it makes sense to continue as a customer team, but still there are so many question marks over the project, as there have been like for 10, 15 years already. So also in that regard, I think stability is key. And the second factor, I feel, is the relationship with James Vowles, because both Vowles and Sainz have spoken about it quite a lot. And they said we had like a couple of nice chats into the late night, which was good because it was about both Carlos's mindset. He was...
What? New friendship with Carlos Sainz?
Yeah, willing to wait for Red Bull or for Mercedes. But also about the perspective that Williams could give him. And I think he's quite convinced, he quite believes in the plans that James Vowles has. I mean, they're bringing new technical people on board. They have, as Alex...
Maybe Andrew Newey will join Williams' team. Maybe not. I mean, it will be so amazing if he did. So I still hoping that he will join.
It's already pointed out they have the Mercedes engine for 26 that a lot of people believe in. And I think Vowles himself is proving that he's the right man for the job as the team principal. So then the whole package just seems a bit more stable, a bit more convincing that what Audi and Alpine can offer him at the moment, because I'm sure that as every single F1 contract there are clauses in here. But I think based on the knowledge we have now, it fully makes sense for Alex. Sorry for Carlos to go that way and to be partnered with Alex Albon.
Yeah, Alex Kalinauckas nodding away at all those points there. Ronald, staying with you for a second and talking about maybe consistency and turmoil, what about Logan Sargeant? Where did it go wrong for him?
Well, I think it's just a new reality for Williams at the moment, looking at the ambitions they have, looking at the steps they make as a team. With all respect to Logan, basically a different driver lineup fits to those ambitions. And I think Logan, he had quite a journey. He came from the Williams Academy, got the F1 seed. But now I think for the team, it's time to move on. And also financially, that's the case, because we all know that Logan brought in some sponsorship money also. But you cannot spend all of that anyway because of the budget cap. On the other hand, Williams got investment from other directions coming. So then it's not about financial reasons. It's more about sporting reasons. And if you look at that, then, yeah, if you have the choice between Logan Sargeant and Carlos Sainz, let's be honest, you don't need to think about that for so long, I think.
No,
What?
Absolutely right.
That's me. What do you mean? You don't have to think a lot of... Surely Logan Sargeant was amazing for Williams. Not at all depressing that the Drugovich didn't get in the seat. So he could at least try to show if he could do anything good in Formula 1. But no, we got Logan Sargeant. 100% worth it.
So what about the intra-team partnership then, Alex, to come to you first on this one. Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon, how is that going to play out? What do we think that's going to bring?
Yes, I think probably part of the reason why I was nodding along for him was Ronald's little stumble about Williams being a good fit for Alex. And I was like, yeah, actually, you know what, that would be a good fit for me, I think. You know, historic team, seems to be going places, like what they're doing there. But anyway, yeah, Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz. Yeah, it's not, I don't see it being a particularly combustible place at Williams. I think you've got two very clever, very polite, very just well brought up, nice guys at the team there, you know. And Williams, I think, will benefit from that, considering, you know, stability when you're in a rebuilding phases is ultimately prized. So yeah, I think I wouldn't expect to be too many flashpoints, fireworks. I mean, that said, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc have gone wheel to wheel pretty ruthlessly, especially in the early part of this year, but nothing's actually boiled over. And from what we've seen with Leclerc wishing Sainz on his way, leaving Ferrari, the relationship seems to be holding up there. So yeah, I think, you know, Williams just, I mean, in terms of Sainz replacing Logan Sargent, it's just a complete upgrade. You've gone from, unfortunately, a no-hoper at this level to a proven winner. And actually, considering where Williams are in its journey, Sainz's knowledge, also the fact that, you know, so Sainz's knowledge of winning, but also the fact that he makes...
Yeah, knowledge of winning. Yeah, like Esteban Ocon. I mean, he won a race. His knowledge about winning races will bring Haas back to podiums.
Things happen. I always go back and cite this one example. Monaco 2022 in the rain, Charles Leclerc dominating, Carlos Sainz behind, it's been raining, the call is coming, you know, do we come in and put more intermediates on, or do we wait until it's dry enough to go to slicks? Leclerc obeyed the team. It was
like Lewis Hamilton did in Belgium, and look who almost lost the race because of that.
At the time when Ferrari's strategy was a complete shambles, cost him the victory, and Sainz said, no, I'm doing this. I'm waiting. I'm making this call. And that, it didn't win the race, but it got him a podium when a podium could easily have been lost. So that sort of element, and we saw that again at Silverstone a few weeks ago from Sainz, and Leclerc again, obeying the team, Sainz taking more of the action himself. So Williams, I think, will really benefit from that.
Will Alex Albon benefit as well from having a teammate like Carlos Sainz, because he's got a teammate like Logan Sargent at the moment? So surely that's...
I mean, surely he will. Two good drivers that can bring the car just further up.
It's going to propel him along the way a bit further.
Yeah, I think both Alex, but the whole team will benefit from it. I mean, I fully agree to what Alex just said, our own Alex. But it's also about, like, the example that came to my mind was Sainz's win in Singapore with a smart DRS trick that he gave. So he has the capacity behind the wheel to keep thinking about strategy, about other aspects than the driving itself. But what maybe is even more important is that his feedback has always been quite good throughout his Formula One career. And I feel that's the same with Alex Albon. I have to go back to Abu Dhabi 2021. After Maax won the World Championship, I was talking like for 10-15 minutes in the paddock to Alex Albon about his role in the 21 season, about what he did behind the scenes in the simulator, how he was able to contribute to the car development. And I was quite impressed by the level of detail that he was able to explain everything in. And I feel Williams need that. They have Alex bringing that in. They get Carlos bringing that in. And it's not only for 25, but it's even...
man, this will... the Williams hype is
more
real.
For the huge overhaul in regulations for 26. So I think what you need is two experienced drivers that will not do anything stupid.
Yeah, Peter, we should have said this, I don't know, since 2021. The great year, he would say. The day of reckoning. When Max Verstappen deservedly won the race in Abu Dhabi. And everyone is just happy that happened.
On track, but that are both able to contribute with good feedback behind the scenes. And I think that's exactly what Williams will get with this lineup.
Let's move on then from one driver to another, and from Carlos Sainz to Red Bull and to Sergio Perez. It was a bit of a surprise, maybe. Everyone seemed to assume he was going to be out from the team, given the struggles that he's had all year. And in particular, his failure to meet the ultimatums that the team seemed to be setting down. What do you think, Alex, convinced Red Bull to stick with him?
Well, there's a lot of chatter at the moment about, the Mexican sponsorship money that he brings, the amount of Red Bull cans sold in that country, Perez's home country. But I think more...
And also, when they arrive to Mexico, if they want to come back alive, they might kick him out after the Mexico Grand Prix. Just to be safe. I mean, who knows what can happen in Mexico when they arrive after have kicked Sir Perez out of the team. I mean, it can be some interesting people that might wanna do some revenge on Red Bull.
More than that, ultimately boiled down to who have Red Bull got to replace him, and will they
And their safety in Mexico
do a better job in that car? I think don't underestimate.
I mean, losing championship or the constructorship is maybe worth nothing if you're talking about what they can lose if they ride to Mexico. And Perez, Mexico's, what the fuck is it called? The defense minister of Mexico. I mean, he will bring the whole army behind him.
The fact that Perez is very well liked within that team. We talked about the benefit of a non-volatile, stable driver lineup. Largely, there was the flashpoints around Monaco in 2022, Brazil in 2022. Red Bull have had that with Perez, and Verstappen will not have forgotten how hard, again, hey, let's bring it up again, how hard Perez drove to help him in Abu Dhabi 2021. So, there are elements there that make sense from the team.
Yeah, but he forgot that in what year? Where was that? Let's see. It was one of the last races. Let's see. It was, let's see, 2023. No, it must be 2022. 2022. Was it Brazil? It must be in Brazil when Max Verstappen didn't wanna let Sergio Perez by. And yeah, that was interesting that happened.
But in the
at that race, Max Verstappen forgot what Sergio Perez might have done for him.
That right now, the rate of points being scored, McLaren is scoring 30 points a race, and Red Bull only scoring 20 points a race. Now that shows you how close everything is right now, but it also shows you how wildly imbalanced the Red Bull driver lineup is. And if it carries on at this rate, McLaren will catch Red Bull in the constructors.
McLaren, will, but one, and with how much? Because man, they are. If they have won. If they won every race that everyone predicted they will win a race, then I would say, yeah, McLaren, they will catch up, or they might have already catch up. But man, they're wasting wins. And also Lando Norris is finished behind Max Verstappen, so it's like, I mean, they're catching up, but really, will they ever get more points than Red Bull? Probably not.
Around Singapore, they'll probably be level then. I don't know if they'll necessarily be ahead. How the
fuck do Mercedes wins races when everyone thinks, oh, this will be an easy McLaren win? And then Mercedes wins. It's like, the fuck are they doing? Are they trying to win this or not? They're wasting points.
Ultimately, that's the real risk for Red Bull. But as I said, what have they got to replace him with? Daniel Ricciardo?
Yeah. Surely his McLaren days have not ruined his ability to drive good.
Very
Oh shit.
You know, very interesting, very entertaining lineup that would be again with Verstappen and Ricciardo. But I don't think he's proved that he can still cut it at the top level, and has had so many
Wait, what?
chances, and
That's
it's
mean.
not there. So what else? They clearly don't want to promote Yuki Tsunoda. There is absolutely no confidence in his confidence that it will remain there alongside Max Verstappen, given what we've seen to Alex Albon, to Pierre Gasly, ultimately to Daniel Ricciardo, kind of running.
Fuck, was it Magenta White? Yeah, I don't think Tsunoda will ever get that promotion. Magenta White. Yes. I mean, I would say if Sergio Perez after the summer break, after 2 races, after they got the upgrade and it's still bad, then I believe Ricciardo will get a promotion, and then Liam Lawson can get into Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team, and then maybe Sergio Perez can join Stake F1 team Kick Sauber and be part of that. But that's if he's bad. If he's not, then maybe Ricciardo will join that team.
From a fight in 2018, and then look what happened for Tsunoda in Budapest. You know, all the Red Bull drivers were told, a couple of races for the summer break, show us your best, because there's real risks to some of you and real potential upsides to others. And Tsunoda went and smashed his car in qualifying in Hungary. So,
well, someone will smash a lot of cars if Sergio Perez get maybe kicked from Red Bull and Red Bull arrives to Mexico.
yeah, and then you've got Liam Lawson, who seems to be able to cut it whenever they've thrown anything his way, but they don't want to risk putting him into the Red Bull alongside Verstappen. And if it all goes wrong, again, to cite the Alex Albon example from 2019, 2020, that can destroy a driver's potentially career if they can't cut it, if their confidence dims or whatever. So, yeah, ultimately, Verstappen is the problem here. It's also Red Bull's...
Oh, yeah, wait, the fuck, what a problem? Oh, in one way, I mean, it can be a big problem. If Max Verstappen is like, if you want me to stay in this car, Sergio Perez need to be in the other car, then you can say Max Verstappen is a big problem.
Well, he's Red Bull. He is Red Bull. He is what is winning everything for Red Bull at the moment. But they got him in so young. They destroyed other driver relationships, Carlos Sainz, along the way.
Yeah, is that a bad thing? That they don't have to care about Carlos Sainz? I mean, they got Daniel Ricciardo back, so... And I don't know if Alex Albon is still part of the Red Bull, but he was. And I mean, Gasly is maybe not anymore. But that's more thanks to Alpine fucking up the Alonso and Oscar Piastri stuff. Eller contracts. Otherwise, Gasly will still be in maybe Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team.
They can't, they've been trying to replicate that ever since.
Oh shit, the Red Bull's own channel. I mean, they still get David Coulthard to do videos with them. Mark Webber was in the latest video. Sebastian Vettel, probably they will easily get back. Who knows, maybe Sebastian Vettel, Mark Webber, Formula 1 racing fight between them from cars from 2010 to 2013. Who knows? If that happens, doesn't that mean that the people that were big rivals once upon a time, that they can bring back drivers that are so-called mean use of the fuck is that?
But they got him in so young. They destroyed other drivers.
Yeah, destroyed other drivers. Like, all the drivers they can still bring back.
Relationships, Carlos Sainz, along.
The fuck you meaning? Carlos Sainz was the... You were talking about Carlos Sainz earlier. That he waited to maybe get a seat in Red Bull. Apparently, Red Bull didn't destroy him enough. He wants to get back to the bad relationship. Fuck.
On the way. They can't, they've been trying to replicate that ever since. And everything they've tried, going up against a driver as brilliant and also as just single-mindedly, ruthlessly brilliant as Verstappen, means the other car can't take it, or the other driver can't take it. So, yeah, it's sort of, Verstappen is everything for Red Bull. It's both its blessing and a curse, if you want to make a very complex situation simple and perhaps a bit of hyperbole. But yeah, I think... what else could Red Bull have done? I think it's risky for them. As I said, I think it probably, if things stay the same, which, as we've seen in this season...
Risky. Mexico will be fucking risky if they remove Perez and then go steer.
Not necessarily going to do, given Red Bull started off dominating and now everybody else is winning. But yeah, it's really risky for Red Bull.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, Ronald, if you look at it as well, and Alex has kind of said that, this as well, that Max Verstappen has been very supportive of Sergio in more recent times as well, in fact, all the way through. Do you think that's been part of the decision for Red Bull to keep him? And just on top of that as well, what happens if we get to the end of the season and their decision equals they don't retain the constructors?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think the bit on Max and Checo, the relationship is important because, of course, we had Brazil 2022, so the relationship hasn't always been as great. There was a bit of payback.
Whole fucking, Monaco that he probably mentioned. But I feel like, I don't know how, I mean, just Verstappen can you clearly start a lot of stuff that is so unnecessary.
For the Monaco qualifying crash. But anyway, Christian Horner mentioned a couple of times that the relationship between Max and Checo is an important element in any decision they take, basically. So they want to put somebody next to Max.
So Max Verstappen is probably... I will stay if Sir Perez stay. If you guys remove him, I leave. I mean, that could be something that will happen. Clayfish Cyan, come on.
That Max can live with, that he has a good relationship with, and clearly that's the case with Checo. But to be fair, Max, whenever I ask him about Checo, he always comes back to the car. Because he said the real problem is maybe not Checo, the real problem is the car. Our car is not only a bit too slow at the moment, but is also really tricky to drive. And that's what Checo is struggling with just much.
And Max Verstappen is backing Sir Perez up. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just more for his own interest, but still it looked nice. Looked like he's a nice guy. When everyone is hating on Sir Perez, we have Max Verstappen that is standing there with the shield just protecting him. The car is actually bad. What I can do is godlike. Nobody can ever do good in this car.
Much more than Max. I had to think back to what Max said in Barcelona. That he said, not in the press conference, but he said it in the Dutch media session. He said, is Checo now, is he a worse racing driver than last year? Max asked the question to all of us, and he said, I don't think so. So maybe it says more about car development than about Checo, his development.
And just look at the start. He got P2 and P3 and then something happened. There were Clayfish.
Two elements that play a big role here. The first one is that the field bunched up. So I looked at the data, and Checo is not much further behind than he was last year. But last year, with 6 tenths behind Max in qualifying, he could still be P2, P3, maybe P4. But now, if you are 6 or 7 tenths behind Max in qualifying, you can go out in Q1, and that's exactly what happened a couple of times already. Second element has to do with the car balance. It's much more difficult to drive nowadays. And I talked about this theory with some people within Red Bull, and they basically support it. Even technical director Pierre Wache, he said this is pretty much correct. But the theory is that if the car is pretty comfortable to drive, then it's not easy because it's never easy, but then it's relatively easy for Checo to be within an acceptable distance of Max. Now, when the car gets more tricky, Maax is the one, as we know, he can deal with it, especially in stable rear end of the car, Maax can deal with it. But if that happens, then Checo is struggling a lot more, and then the gap is increasing. But not only that, and also you have to drive it on a knife edge, and then crashes occur more often. What is exactly what happened a couple of times, including Hungary. So Maax said, our first priority has not to be thinking about my teammate. The first priority has to be thinking about the car. But then talking about the constructor.
Oh, so they might do that thing I think they would do. Keep Perez, wait until an upgrade is coming, and then you can see if they should keep Perez or not. So fix the car.
I remember almost 1 year ago in Silverstone, Maax was half joking. He was saying, I can win the constructors on my own. We are 1 year on now and the world is looking completely different. So that's a bit problematic. Not so much maybe for Maax, but more for all the people working within Red Bull and especially the mechanics, because all the bonuses, all the money, the prize money they get is linked to the constructors and not to the drivers' championships.
No! That can be a problem for the people that are working. But hey, if they make a car that Perez can't drive, hey, that's their problem. Make a better car. Or don't get the bonus.
So for them, yes, it's nice that Checo can stay, but for them it's vital that Checo steps up his game and gets in some consistent results after the summer break, because it's not only about, it's costing us in terms of overall, but it's costing them literally money for the team members. So that's an important element we should not forget.
It's quite a considerable amount of money. I think Mercedes team members are getting a 10 grand for a
exactly
championship victory. I guess it depends on what your role is. But anyway, but the point with hoping that Perez steps it up, as Ronald rightly says, they gave him a contract for 2025 and beyond, and he still didn't get any better. So they gave him the carrot, they gave him the stick, nothing worked. I don't see how this solves the problem. He'll have few...
Well, it doesn't solve the car problem either, so fuck you mean.
questions, presumably, for the first few races, and then when it hasn't got any better and Helmut Marko continues blasting him to Ronald in the paddock and other Dutch media and the German media, it'll all start again. It just will. I don't see how.
In your opinion,
unless Red Bull can suddenly make massive car changes, Perez is suddenly able to close the gap to Verstappen that, as Ronald says, is slightly bigger than last year. And with the other teams closer, how does this get better? I just don't see it.
Well, it's an interesting point that Alex brings up about both the contract and also by mentioning Helmut Marko, because I feel there's a difference a bit between Christian Horner and Helmut Marko there. Christian Horner, he explained, I wanted to give Checo the new contract and make it the 2-year deal, of course, including the clauses, but I wanted to get it done early to boost his confidence. And I feel Helmut Marko has a bit of a different approach to racing and to life in general.
Yes. Talk so much shit you can without maybe being too mean to maybe get the Sir Perez to wanna do better.
Because he says, we need to put on the pressure, and that's what he does all the time in the media. And he feels that Checo sometimes needs the pressure, because if Checo has all the safety of a 2-year contract, then I wouldn't say he's going to sleep, but then his form can go down a little bit. And then Helmut Marko is the guy that comes out, goes to us in the media and says, well, he really has to step up his game. Otherwise, there will be some kind of evaluation coming. So I think that's also highlighting a bit of a different approach between Horner and Marko within the Red Bull team.
It's like a dog with two heads, isn't it?
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Helmut Marko, with Christian Horner, they're both doing completely different things. And just staying with you, Alex, on this one here, when it comes down to Perez's confidence, you mentioned it as well. He was given a contract that was supposed to improve his confidence. That didn't seem to work.
For now. But the car is still also bad, so wait until the car is good. And when Max Verstappen says, yeah, the car is good, Sir Perez is just bad, then we can maybe question why Sir Perez is still in the team. Flopper Grey.
The pressure, surely, for him is just going to keep ramping up and ramping up. Forget confidence. How can you be confident when you've got Helmut Marko being a flea in everybody's ear in the paddock? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it comes down to the individual, doesn't it? Like, how good is Perez at compartmentalizing and shutting everything out? And, let's not forget, we're not talking about an NHS doctor under massive pressure seeing patients every 10 minutes and it all being very challenging. We're talking about a multi-million-pound Formula One driver. His life is not exactly terrible, but it's what he needs to succeed.
What do you mean? It can be just super terrible. He must drive a bad car. Are Bottas and Jürgen you happy driving Stake Up on Team Kick Sauber car? If not, that's okay.
And as we said, it doesn't seem like whatever Red Bull do, he's getting that. But I think ultimately this is just who Perez is. This is just the level that he is. He's never set the world alight. He's had his moments. He's been good with the tyres, but as we've seen, there are better drivers, including much better drivers, including Max Verstappen. And so, yeah, I think ultimately, unless Red Bull have a better alternative, this is what they're going to get.
Just stands for one more question for you, Ronald, and that is to do with Max and his car. He said post the Belgian Grand Prix, the team needs to focus, and you've kind of answered it already, but the team needs to focus on the car and not on who's going to be in the seat alongside him in the garage, obviously. How confident are you, Ronald, that Red Bull are going to take Max's advice and get this car fixed?
Well, I think there are two...
No, they will just... No, fuck that, Max Verstappen. Why the fuck will we fix the car when we can just not fix it?
Two different elements when it comes to Max's advice. The first one relates to some clear weaknesses that the Red Bull car has and that we can all see for like 2 years already. Of course, curb riding, bumps and the slow speed corners. And I feel that earlier this year there was an element of frustration there because Max is already saying it for 1.5 years within the team. And basically it has not changed until now. And Monaco was an interesting test. I mean, going into the weekend, he said in the media, this will be the first real test after Singapore. So I'm interested to see how it will go. And then Sunday, we talked to him in the pen. I asked him the question, okay, how does the car and your feeling in the car compare to Singapore? And his answer was, it's exactly the same. So I feel he was a bit disappointed, maybe a bit frustrated that despite him saying it for 1.5 years within the team, nothing changed really. Then I went to technical director Pierre Wache because the one thing that came to my mind is, can they fix it without weakening the strong points of the Red Bull car? Because my thought was maybe it's just part of the DNA of the RB20. Red Bull thinks that's not the case. They are confident they can fix it, but
hopefully they can, but man, they're taking some really long time to fix that.
Bad news for Max is they don't think they can fix it this year because Pierre Wache said that requires some bigger changes, will probably be something for the upcoming winter. So bottom line is Max in Singapore has to deal with whatever he has. But that's one element of it. Then the second one is just the pure speed that Red Bull is maybe lacking a bit. And it was really interesting in Hungary during the media day. Max got the question, how close do you think the opposition can get to Red Bull this weekend? And his answer was, you have to ask the question the other way around. You have to ask, how close can we get to the opposition? Because for
True! Will Red Bull be close to the other teams? Not if the other teams will be close to them.
some weeks already, we do not have the quickest car at the moment. So yes, the weaknesses are there. The weaknesses were already there when they were still dominating, but then they only lost Singapore and it was not a big deal. Now the weaknesses are still there, but they don't have the overspeed anymore, and that's when things get rather complicated, and that's the current situation, I feel.
What I find really interesting with all that in mind is how hard Max himself is having to push, because he said it quite openly in Hungary. I think it had been alluded to with Ronald and his colleagues in the Dutch media at Barcelona. Max saying, I'm pushing harder than last year, and it's resulting in different things. Like, I don't think Max crashes, or, you know, it was a small crash, but in Monaco Q3 in 2023 as he does in 2024. I don't think there's tiny little mistakes in Hungary that add up to big things, because he's right on the limit now. And in one way, that pays off spectacularly. His drive at Imola, I've gone back and thought, I don't think I rated it as highly as I do now at the time, but I've gone back and thought about it. The way he held off Lando Norris, no one else in the world could have done that. Look at Spa. Max Verstappen on the medium tyres in the final stint held off a potentially quicker car in the McLaren and caught the Ferrari ahead
I mean, that's Max Verstappen we have there. I mean, man, that was a depressing race. Nothing happened.
By the end of the race, Sergio Perez completely disappeared. Max Verstappen, you know, he's on the limit, and as we've seen with drivers on the limit, Leclerc as an example, it can go wrong. But for Verstappen, it can also produce some really, really, really brilliant things.
Certainly can, gents. Thank you very much indeed.
Oh, no blue, pink, lime, orange, light blue, grey, white, cyan, black, purple, light grey, yellow, magenta, red. No spotted blue, pink. And 10, 13, 13, 14. Oh, only one more. Spotty blue. Spotty blue. Yeah, one more. Spotty blue. Do we have a spotty blue? Spotty blue. Yeah, we have spotty blue. Nice. Spotty cyan.
Well, that just about does it for this video. What do you think? Has Carlos Sainz made the right decision in joining Williams? And what about Red Bull? Are they right to keep Checo on? If not, who should they have got instead? Let us know in the comments. Also, make sure you subscribe so you can keep up to date with tomorrow's video, where we're going to be reviewing the Belgian Grand Prix itself and what was a very dramatic weekend for Mercedes. We'll see you then.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, Carlos Sainz best move to Williams, yes, and if you want to have a safe future, if you want maybe have an amazing future, stake up one team kick Sauber / Audi could maybe be a better option for the future. And Alpine is no. And then Sir Perez. Oh shit! No, did I? Okay. Oh wait, I maybe already clicked away. Either way, that was Autosport, and I mean, I didn't maybe believe in Sir Perez staying in Red Bull. I believe he should. No, why not? Wait until. I'm gonna wait until the upgrade they come to the car, and then you can see. If he's still bad, then you can remove him. But if the upgrade is... but if he can use the upgrade, like he start being good. No. Isn't that better to keep him? Then maybe after the... for next season I can maybe replace him. But I don't think, I mean, if he start being good, I don't think they will replace him with Ricciardo. Maybe if Ricciardo start doing really good. But if not, Ricciardo is the one that maybe might join stake F1 team kick Sauber. So Red Bull can promote Liam Lawson to Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team. Spotty magenta. Stripey. But we have the race. The consequence of Red Bull's Sir Perez gamble. Stake F1 team kick Sauber is 100% a gamble team. Red Bull doesn't gamble like they do. Come on. Did I miss it? Purple, light blue, lime, cyan, black, light gray. Nope, I did not. Spotty white. Spotty blue. Spotty pink. Spotty green. Spotty red, spotty grey. Snooper, we're not looking for the spotty orange. Spotty, there we have it. Magenta green. Yep, all spotty. No, one more. Wait, fuck me. Green? And we... That's lame. Spotty brown. Spotty brown. Yeah, whatever. Let's see what the race thinks. About Sergio Perez, probably. They will probably have almost the same opinion like the Autosport. I mean, they call it a gamble, so they probably don't think it's a good idea. Maybe sound.
Sergio Perez will still be racing for Red Bull after Formula 1 summer.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? He get at least 2 more races, or whenever the upgrade is coming, and then they get. Then he will maybe get kicked, probably after Mexico, to be on the safe side. You don't know, whatever can happen. If they kick him before they go into Mexico, maybe they will losing. That will actually be a gamble. Kicking Sergio Perez before Mexico, and then you have Sergio Perez, defense minister of Mexico, with his army ready to, I don't know, make something when the Red Bull is coming. So that's a big gamble to kick him before that, when you can just kick him after. And you don't have to care about uprising of something when they are in Mexico.
A break, a call that could decide who wins this year's World Championship. Red Bull team bosses Christian Horner and Helmut Marko met on Monday after the Belgian Grand Prix to discuss Perez's fate, as his woeful form is on course to cost Red Bull the Constructors' title. After those talks, Horner told the team at its Milton Keynes base that Perez remains a Red Bull racing driver, and, we're quoting Horner here, we look forward to seeing him perform at tracks he has previously excelled at after the summer break. That's been widely reported as Perez keeping his Red Bull seat, but we need to add a quiet, for now, to the end of that. What has been shared not by an official announcement but through leaked information, including to us, is very specific. That is often the way with Red Bull. So here's the situation. Perez will be in the car at Zandvoort, the first race after the summer break, and at least a few afterwards. Red Bull's not said he will definitely be there for the rest of the season, and Hornet specifically referenced seeing Perez perform at tracks he has previously excelled.
And hopefully the upgrades will also have arrived so he can actually be good. And man, it will not be fun for McLaren if Red Bull is starting to be good again. Because they... all the... I mean, how many could they have won? If they... let's see... 2024. That's 1, 2, 3... Yeah, maybe just 3. So they could be up 5 wins. Instead of giving Mercedes that. For some reason.
We think this means Baku and Singapore, 2 circuits where Perez has scored 3 of his 5 Red Bull wins. Those races are now back-to-back due to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix moving to a later date, and they follow the final European races of the season at Zandvoort and Monza. After Singapore, there's an unusual autumn gap in the schedule, another opportunity, you might say, to re-evaluate the situation. Red Bull's decision is essentially to delay making a decision, partly because the team desperately does not want to replace Perez. It wants him to find the form that was so strong early in 2024 when Red Bull still had a car advantage and it seemed to be in a better working window. Giving him a few more races could combine to be the lift Perez needs, a show of faith in the face of recent Red Bull generated speculation, a chance for Perez to signal a you to his doubters, and some morale boosting and form inducing results.
Shit, now we have the problem with the fucking Sunstreak Brown. Still not a big problem. Okay, Sun Brown Lime. No brown lime. And I didn't see any brown lime here. Okay, we have not a problem with Sunstreak, but soon we will have. Fuck me, I need to go back and see when the fuck did I fuck this up. So annoying. Grey, light grey. Yeah, grey. Light blue.
On two of his best circuits. But it could backfire. The slump could continue. Red Bull could lose control of the championship fight entirely and have less time to react. It's laudable in a way that Red Bull's taking a view that doing right by its driver will eventually do right by the team, if patience and loyalty can be rewarded with a Perez breakthrough. For the sake of Perez, those who have made the decision, and the many people at Red Bull busting a gut to win these championships and with healthy constructors titles.
Well, if Max Verstappen complaining on something and they still have not fixed it, like Lewis Hamilton did somewhat complaining about Mercedes, and they still didn't fix the car, I mean, whose problem is that then? The person that are driving the car or the person that are making the car?
Bonuses on the line, it had better work. Perez's situation looked very shaky when he blew his chance to show he can be a robust support act to Max Verstappen in Belgium, the last race before the meeting between Horner and Marco, who said Perez completely collapsed in that Grand Prix.
Collapse? That, well, you can say, but I mean, Max Verstappen finished ahead of Sergio Perez, but man, can you really say that he did so much better in that race? I mean, nobody could overtake someone.
Grand Prix. Perez had qualified on the front row for the first time since China 3 months ago at Spa, but tumbled down to 8th as the race progressed. Falling so limply to last of the lead group of 8 cars rammed home how weak Red Bull's second car currently is compared to its rivals. It let McLaren take another 9 points out of Red Bull in the...
I mean, he got the fastest lap, and I mean, I look at what George Russell finished. He got disqualified. I mean, what does that say about Mercedes?
The gap to Red Bull in the 8 races since the Miami Grand Prix. Back then, it was 115 points behind. Now it's just 42. McLaren's car has caught up with Red Bull's in that time, but Perez's nosedive is the primary reason this points gap has been slashed. Because even though Verstappen doesn't have the best car anymore, he's still scored more points than anybody else in those 8 races, whereas Perez is a distant last.
Man, what the fuck is... Oh my god, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri should have so much more points. I mean... Is that do McLaren do some gamble with their drivers? I mean, they have a good car, good drivers. I feel like they're gambling away races for no reason.
Of the lead 8 drivers in that period. And before George Russell was disqualified from Spa, the Mercedes drivers' points had dumped Perez to 8th in the Drivers' Championship, having been a strong second just 8 races ago. At this rate, McLaren will catch and pass Red Bull quite comfortably before the end of the season, but frankly, if it had nailed a few more races before the summer break, McLaren might already be ahead.
Yeah, but they don't, so should Red Bull really be worried about that? I mean, they're doing so badly. Letting Mercedes win when they should 100% win.
Despite that, Perez feels his future has been unfairly speculated over during this run and has been
True.
at pains to stress that Red Bull
Fuck
has
the British
issues to
people.
solve and that we cannot waste any energy with all this speculation. Verstappen, to be fair, has also argued his teammates not Red Bull's biggest problem right now because it has other issues with its car and the McLaren threat to worry about. Admittedly, the scrutiny on Perez is unique, but only because he is uniquely underperforming and putting his team in real jeopardy of blowing a championship it should win reasonably comfortably given the lead it's had. So why tolerate this and give Perez more time? Well, pulling the trigger is a huge decision, even ignoring any potential
And also, Mexico Grand Prix exists still. It could be a big gamble to visit that country after kicking Sergio Perez, so maybe you don't want to kick him for now. Until you know that you have security in that country.
commercial implications. Back Perez and one of two things will happen. Red Bull will either stumble over the line clinging onto the lead with the odd Perez highlight just about being enough, or it will be easily overtaken and Perez will be the reason why. Drop Perez though and there's no guarantee of anything better. Maybe Red Bull will have a rejuvenated
I feel so annoying. People say that Red Bull will lose. They are more likely to lose the constructorship and championship and everything, blah blah blah. But to who? To fucking McLaren that are fucking failing every race to win a race? And let Mercedes win it? It's like, is that team the one that will make so good races now, so they will overtake Red Bull?
second car, with both in the mix more often than not. Maybe Daniel Ricciardo or Liam Lawson, if Red Bull took a real punt for Verstappen's teammate, would be just as volatile form-wise as Perez, or maybe they'd be even worse. It seems that giving Perez more races, maybe just 4 including those 2 street circuits, is a last chance at regaining that early year form. And a little further into the season, the magnitude of the McLaren threat will be even clearer by then too. Red Bull's basically still living in hope and taking a chance it will get away with waiting just a little bit longer before it finally has to do something.
Maax presenterar
Max Verstappen!
OS i Paris 2024. Endast här kan du se varje
Oh,
ögonblick
it's
från
not Max Verstappen.
Before we continue with the consequences this has on Red Bull's title aspirations, we can't ignore the uncertainty that keeping Perez creates for Daniel Ricciardo and how Red Bull will handle a driver logjam. Along with keeping Perez in the car after the summer break, there will be no driver changes at RB, so Ricciardo stays put alongside Yuki Tsunoda. An advantage of dropping Perez and putting Ricciardo alongside Verstappen would have been temporarily solving the issue of finding a seat for Liam Lawson, who would have replaced Ricciardo at RB.
Just do that next season. Fuck, why should you do it now?
That still would have left Red Bull with the question of what to do with Isaac Hadjar next year. Hadjar looks
Okay. You promote Liam Lawson. I mean, this is so easy. So Perez is, if Sergio Perez is still good, you keep him and Ricciardo will go to Sergio from Team Kick Sauber. If Perez is bad, still, you promote Daniel Ricciardo and then you promote Liam Lawson to the Visa Cash Rep RB Formula 1 team. And then you use Isaac Hadjar as just the third driver. And if Liam Lawson is good, Isaac Hadjar maybe still will be the third driver, like Liam Lawson have been for many years. Or if Liam Lawson is bad, you just promote Isaac Hadjar.
on course to win the Formula 2 title and is deserving of an F1 chance, especially if RB is going to take on more of a nurturing role again for Red Bull Juniors. Perez out, Ricciardo in would have let Red Bull evaluate Ricciardo at the top team, and if he underachieved, it could possibly replace him with Lawson for next year after Lawson gets a half-season apprenticeship at the second team. Then if Ricciardo's out the picture entirely and Perez is...
Oh shit! They fucking... Oh shit. Let's see what the fuck they're doing.
Perez out, Ricciardo in would have let Red Bull evaluate Ricciardo at the top team, and if he underachieved...
Yeah, and if Sir Perez is good and Daniel Ricciardo is bad, you remove Ricciardo. Why the fuck don't nobody mention that Daniel Ricciardo can be removed?
it could possibly replace him with Lawson for next year after Lawson gets a half-season apprenticeship at the second team. Then if Ricciardo's out the picture entirely and Perez is long gone, Hadjar would have an RB seat. Or
Okay, but why do you want to have Isaac Hadjar so badly in the team?
Ricciardo and Lawson could have continued full-time at Red Bull Racing and RB respectively, and Hadjar could have an intensive year as reserve and test driver waiting for 2026. There are a lot of hypotheticals in that, and apologies if you couldn't keep up, but the...
If that's true, that's your fans. That's not a you problem, that's your fans' problem.
point is that Perez out would have given Red
I
Bull...
mean, you didn't even fucking mention fucking Stake F1 team Kick Saber. That Daniel Ricciardo or Sergio Perez can also join if they are getting removed from the Red Bull. So you did not do this complicated. The fuck?
a lot more driver flexibility. But now, who knows what it's going to do? What's the point of Ricciardo just sitting at the second team? If his decent pre-summer break form wasn't enough to move him up, then what will be, and what's his future without that prospect? When and how will Lawson get his future settled, with Red Bull needing to give him a 2025 race seat before September this year, or else he becomes a free agent? Will Hadjar just end up on the sidelines at the back of a long queue?
He will.
Of course, keeping Perez...
With a long queue. Lawson is the only one is ahead of him, so it's like one person queue. The fuck? That doesn't sound like so long.
Temporarily or for the rest of 2024 entirely doesn't mean he stays for 2025. Maybe an off-season change and giving Ricciardo and Lawson full pre-seasons with respective teams is actually the neatest solution. But it's just another example of the unclear situation Red Bull's allowed to exist within its driver pool, and it is quite baffling that a top team allows this crucial area to be plagued by such uncertainty.
Is that a bad thing? Or is that a good thing? I mean, everyone is complaining that they didn't keep Alex Albon, Gasly, the Kvyat, and whatever other people that have been in Toro Rosso. And now they are keeping a driver. Now everyone is complaining like, what? Why do you... Okay, interesting.
Verstappen and Red Bull have gone into F1's summer break on their worst run since 2020. A season that started with Red Bull-led domination has evolved into at least one surprise title fight. Two, if you share Verstappen's concern that he could be caught in the Drivers' Championship by Lando Norris as well. Spa's been the...
Lando Norris, not Lando Norris, well, he also, because he starts, but McLaren will 100% make sure that Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri will not fight for any more wins or podiums or whatever. Because they really is gambling every race.
Scene of crushing Verstappen victories despite grid drops in the last two seasons, but the fact he could only get back to 5th on track this time means he's going on holiday after a 4-race winless run, his longest spell without winning since before he was a world champion. Verstappen believes McLaren has for sure been the best over the last 5 or 6 races. Off the back of his...
Man, that would be so amazing. If he didn't do the engine penalty, could he still have won the race, or would he maybe end up like Sergio Perez? Probably not, but man, could that happen? Finally, yellow.
His furious wake-up call to Red Bull in Hungary, he was a little more measured at Spa, given he knew his grid penalty would make that a race of damage limitation, but his words still carried a clear warning. Neither Red Bull driver sounded like their team was still in control of the Constructors' Championship over the Spa weekend. They sounded like they're on the back foot and that McLaren's got the advantage.
Yeah, McLaren do have the advantage, but they drive the races like they are trying to beat Red Bull, when Red Bull not even can win a race. It's like, the fuck are you fighting for? It's like they're trying to be worse than Red Bull for some reason.
Said Red Bull had to analyse everything from race 1 all the way to here, needed to try to fight back after the summer break and see if we can actually improve the situation and turn it around. And Perez said the summer break was coming at a good time for Red Bull because it had been a bit lost recently. These are the words of a team
my
in
God.
trouble, and there's a very strong
Brian
case
Yellow.
that McLaren is actually the favourite, even though it's coming from behind. Verstappen said that Red Bull's got a race pace deficit, which means every race is now
Yeah.
about limiting the damage. What many races leading into the summer break have confirmed is that the fight is close enough that tiny details can swing each weekend either way. The question of who will win has been decided by safety car interventions, strategy choices, slightly bad starts, driver errors, and even collisions between rivals, like Verstappen and Norris in Austria. That will add up over the rest of the season and ultimately decide the title. Which again begs the question, why is Red Bull risking fighting this fight one-handed?
The fuck is oh shit. How is McLaren fighting then? With 2 hands or no hands? I mean, are they trying to beat Red Bull by being worse than Red Bull? I mean, are they fighting with 0 hands?
Norris is Verstappen's closest challenger in the World Championship, and Verstappen
Yeah, closest, and the fuck are they doing? Still no second win. When they could have won at least 3 more races. So yeah, what a fight.
Verstappen believes that Norris can beat him to the title this year. But Norris is still a long way behind, 78 points, and managed to lose ground in Belgium despite starting 7 places higher.
That is so depressing. How the fuck do you lose ground to Max Verstappen when Max Verstappen have a bad car?
Norris admitted he'd not been driving particularly well at Spa and described running wide and dropping his outside wheels into the gravel at the first corner after another iffy start as embarrassing. That dropped him to 7th, but it wasn't his only untidy moment in battle. He had good pace thereafter, but with overtaking so difficult, that early error made his life tricky. It was a scrappy weekend overall with too many rough edges. Norris can't beat a driver like Verstappen with these performances, but even if he eradicates the errors, to make up 78 points in the remaining 10 races is a huge challenge, even with a total of 284 still available. Norris was actually 84 points behind just a few races ago, so this would statistically be the second biggest points advantage ever overcome to win the championship if Norris were to do it. And that's after adjusting past seasons to take into account the fact that since 2010 there have been 25 points for a victory rather than 10, 9 or 8 in earlier years. There are factors on Norris's side. This is the longest season in F1 history, so it's easier for someone to build up a large lead and then lose it. There's also more sprint races to come, so more opportunities to score points, and an extra point available in each Grand Prix.
Oh no. Fuck me, 3 more. How many fucking sprinters have already been? I feel like too many. I mean, China was 1. The first one, I believe. Yeah, there we have the first one. Sprint. Fucking sprint shit. And then when did the Miami? Yeah, okay, 2. Have they only been 2? Can we... feel like we need to... let's see. F1 2024 sprint races. Chinese Austrian. What? I mean Australia? Nope. Or was Austria? Oh shit, was it? Fuck, who won the sprint race? Huh. Okay, so 3, so 6. Let's see. Can we get one more row? No, fuck off. Sky Sport down. Okay, so yeah, 6. Nah, so many. And it's 3 left. Fucking so boring.
For the fastest lap. But unlike Red Bull, which has such a clear number 1, number 2 driver split, and let's face it, a second car that isn't anywhere near the lead car most of the time, McLaren has made no attempt to prioritise one driver over the other, and Norris has been
Or even try to win a race.
beaten by teammate Oscar Piastri in the last 2
Win more races than just the 2.
Grand Prix. Piastri's now only 32 points behind Norris, having gained 15 in the last 2 races, and argued during the Belgian weekend it's too early to prioritise one driver over the other. But he has admitted that if Norris were in a position to win the championship and asked him to help, he would. Whether this becomes a realistic prospect or McLaren ends up solely focused on the much more realistic Constructors' Championship, you have to imagine it will feel its chances are boosted by the fact Red Bull has kept Perez on, even if he's...
Yeah, you think you 100% could believe that, but man, they're fucking wasting so much points to letting Mercedes win everything. So they don't try even to
only
win
getting
anything.
a short stay of execution.
So maybe they should have made a clip on why is McLaren gambling so much when the car is the better one. Why are they gambling so much? Just win the races. Make more 1 and 2s. Play fish pink. Pink yellow. Flopper magenta. Flopper magenta. Oh, flopper grey. Eller flopper light grey. Flopper light grey blue. What? No, not light grey. Grey light blue. Flopper light blue. Yeah, we saw light blue in the chest. And there we saw grey. Light blue. No. Light blue pink. And then grey, light blue. Flopper magenta. So in my opinion, it's not a gambling to keep Perez, it's a gambling to have a bad car when you have Max Verstappen still in your team. Like, do you want him to leave, or what are you trying to do? Make a good car, and Max Verstappen will be super happy. Flopper magenta. Flopper green. Flopper. Flopper magenta. Flopper brown. And I didn't fuck it up, so it's not here. Nope. The fuck can it be though? Never have it. Magenta purple. Let's see. 18, 20, 22, 24, 27, 29. Oh, so depressing. So many fishes would go minus. And then we are not even fixed the... Where do we have it? The purple one. What the fuck do we have? Purple. Here we have, okay, flopper purple. Flopper purple. Flopper purple. Do we have enough flopper purple? Oh no! It's not that problem. It's a problem that we have. Yeah, we have this row. Flopper purple. So we can have -9. So -9 plus 29 is man. Glitter light gray. No, cob. Glitter light gray. Glitter light gray. Cob blue. Blue red. But the most interesting will be if Sir Perez or Ricardo will leave the Red Bull team. Will they join a stake F1 team Kick Sauber? I mean, most likely. Light grey black. Sunstreak grey. Sunstreak grey. Wait, what? Sunstreak grey. No sunstreak grey. Fuck can that be now? There we have a sunstreak magenta. Grey magenta. Sunstreak light blue. Light blue brown, light blue brown. Oh shit. Stripey black. Black light blue. Stripey brown. Brown blue. Oh. Okay, we did it before. We shouldn't have done it. Snooper. Lime magenta. Spotty cyan. Spotty magenta. Spotty magenta. Flopper magenta. spotty green, spotty red, spotty grey. Spotty brown. Spotty brown, spotty white. Maybe spotty brown line. Stripy white. Stripy white. Okay, we went through everything, and it is 18, 20, 22, 24. Minus 29. Let's see. Should that be written as today or yesterday? I mean, I collected everything yesterday, but I did it today. So copy. Well, we write this because it's 31. 29. Minus 21 fishes. Oh, that's so depressing. 29 fishes. That's lame. Let's go from the race. Yeah, the fucking gamble video. So mean. Keeping so Perez isn't a gamble. Doing whatever McLaren is doing, that's real gamble. They get 100% win, but they want to gamble away stuff. But let's see what F1 Nation with is it Tom Clarkson? Yeah, fucking yeah. It is Tom Clarkson with fucking Tom Clarkson. Oh my god, I would probably hate this. Oh my god. Smug British person trying to be smart. It's like, man, fuck me, this will be disgusting, probably. Oh my god, he will. I don't know. Man, it could have been slightly funny if Russell won. Like kept his win. So he can talk about how sad it is to see Lewis Hamilton not winning a race. And now we instead have him actually won the race because Russell got disqualified. Betty green purple. Blockfish red cyan. Blockfish white brown. Blockfish grey red. Blockfish magenta brown. Briny black, light gray. Briny yellow, black. Clayfish black, red. Oh shit, I didn't move them back. I'll move them to the new chest. Fuck me. Need to fix that. Oh shit. Go away. Clayfish red, lime. Clayfish black, lime. Okay, interesting. Clayfish cyan pink. Clayfish blue orange. Clayfish pink yellow. Flopper magenta purple. Flopper grey light blue. Flopper light blue pink. Glitter light grey grey. Cob blue red. Snooper lime magenta. Eller magenta. Spotted cyan brown. Spotted magenta green. Fuck off. Spotted magenta cyan. Spotty brown lime. Then we have stripy white pink. And then stripy black light blue. Stripy brown blue. Sunstreak light grey black. Sunstreak grey magenta. Sunstreak light blue brown. We place... No, we keep that, and then we... That way. Take this up. For 29 more tropical fishes for our collection that we don't care about. I mean, there's so little. I mean, they're just taking place just in this area. On this side. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3... 3 more sides, and we just have one side with fishes, and then we have somewhat here, but that's so little. I mean, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 11, I mean, it's like so much more. Oh, disgusting. We saw light blue yellow and light blue yellow. Let's see, can we find any more that are similar? Or they are the same? The fuck do you say? Look alike. Oh, disgusting. This, the normal fish. The black tang. The tang. Ugh, disgusting. No. I mean, surely I can't find it. I mean, there's so many copies I've collected. Surely it should be more than just the one that I saw. But holy shit. Who cares to look after that? Okay, so while we try to collect some more tropical fishes, we will see what Tom Clarkson will see. Let's see. Rusty disqualified, so then we talk about that. Mercedes... well, it will be a Mercedes win either way if the disqualified stuff never happened. I mean, how the fuck did Mercedes fuck that up? Or did Russell fuck that up? Man, can we get information on who fucked up? Then we have McLaren in the mix. They should have won the race. Or not fucking be behind Max Verstappen. The fuck? Okay, so it will be... Okay, let's see. Fuck me.
On track, we had action right
Oh
up.
shit. Yeah, shut the fuck up, Tom Clarkson. The first fish for today. and stripy light grey green. Yeah, now you can
until the
continue.
final lap. Off track, after the checkered flag, there was more drama. Belgian Grand Prix winner George Russell was disqualified for having an underweight car. So that promotes Lewis Hamilton to the win, Oscar Piastri rises to second place, and Charles Leclerc takes third. Welcome everyone to F1 Nation's review of the Belgian Grand Prix. I'm Tom Clarkson, and with me are Aston Martin reserve driver, Belgium's Stoffel van Dorn, and 9-time Le Mans winner.
Let's see. Where do we have it? No, Mexico. We want Belgium. Let's see. Esteban Fernando Alonso. Hey, finish 8th. So. Yeah, that guy, whatever his name was, can somewhat celebrate with some more points. The fuck, how is the... Oh, fuck me, where do I go? Here, driver standing. We can go to construction standing then. Aston Martin. They not getting closer to Mercedes. RB. Oh, they got some more points, so they are keeping Haas, Ferrari behind, and Alpine got some more points. Sadly, I mean, if you should get more points, get past Haas. But what I wanted to see was driver standings. Okay, Fernando Alonso will never catch up to George Russell. Oh, but Yuki Tsunoda can Yuki and Nico can get past Lance Stroll. I mean, Pig Gasly can maybe overtake Oliver Bearman. Maybe Esteban Ocon also. Oh, Alex Albon can maybe... Oh, that would be amazing. Get some more points and get ahead of all this. Oliver Bearman, Pig Gasly, Kevin Magnussen, and Esteban Ocon. Yeah, and I mean, that would be somewhat funny. They stake F1 team kick Sauber still not scored any points, and Logan Sargent doesn't finish 21. But Valtteri Bottas. That I also believe that he will not be in Formula 1 for the next season. Now, why have Valtteri Bottas in for the in the first place? Take F1 ticket Sauber. I mean, they show that they don't want him, and I mean, Alpine will. I mean, the promotion to have Mick Schumacher in the car can promote them so much more, or Jogan Yu, than having Bottas there. So, in my opinion, Bottas should be out for the next season. Let's see if I'm right.
Winner Tom Christiansen, who also presented the Constructors' Trophy on the podium here at Spa-Francorchamps. So, Russell has been disqualified. Let me very briefly explain why. The cars are waiting.
Oh, yes. I want to know. No, he will. I want to explanation like how it happened, why it happened. Is it because of the tires or something else, please?
After the race to ensure they weigh more than the minimum weight, which is 798 kilos, 1,759 pounds for our American listeners. And Russell's W15 Mercedes was found to be 1.5 kilos under the weight limit. Now, racing drivers...
But they have in the car the whole the holy race that God had blessed them with in the car. That had really bad races recently. Yes. I mean, street races is always bad. But if next race that are in oh, what's that called? Round race area. The fuck? NASCAR is famous for this, and I do nothing. Whatever it's called. If it's boring that race also, then IndyCar is finished. I mean, for me, it's been finished for a long time. But if it's finished for IndyCar fans, then you can really say that IndyCar should be done now. So fucking bad it is now.
Explain to me what 1.5 kilos means in terms of performance. Stoffel.
People might think it's not a huge amount, but actually it means that actually through the whole race he's probably been carrying 1.5 kilo less weight into the car. And actually when teams start calculating that in terms of lap time, that's probably maybe a few seconds during the whole race. Another thing is that weight is non-negotiable. When the car is underweight, you get disqualified. So yeah, not a big surprise, to be honest.
Tom, this had been such a brilliant victory by George Russell. Just, how difficult is a moment like this for him?
It's devastating. I mean, Mercedes were, to their own admission, nowhere on Friday, and then they were blindingly fast. I mean, Lewis Hamilton off the line well, and leading the race, and then George came from a little bit out of the blue. I mean, okay, there was this radio message. Can you do? Shall we go a one stint? And he was ready to do that immediately, and that really paid off. He surprised the entire field.
And it could be so funny. I mean, the summer break couldn't have been so amazing. George Russell take the win from Lewis Hamilton, like almost Abu Dhabi 2021. Everyone could celebrate and be happy and just see him crying. But no, George Russell needed to be disqualified. So depressing. I mean, who can be happy with a Lewis Hamilton win when everyone can see George Russell?
That victory was so sweet and so good. And I believe he would have won anyway, apart from, 1.5 kilo. But when you get more than that, of course, it is...
That's something even better. Landon Norris actually can secure some win for fucking McLaren again. Or Oscar Piastri. But no, they are gambling away the wins to Mercedes.
That's a little issue, but I would just say... It is a limit, and a limit, if you are below the limit, you have to be thrown out. That's the rules, and they are strong. So I feel for George Russell.
Taking Russell out of it for a second.
Apparently it was like 30 years ago when this happened. When it happened. The fuck do you say? The last time it happened was 30 years ago or something. So Mercedes are... no more securing some new records.
And what did we learn about the Mercedes car this weekend? Because it was nowhere on Friday, and yet it was the car to beat in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, correct. I think they had a difficult Friday, but when you look at Lewis's season, he often has difficult Fridays because he's a driver that likes to try to play with the car setup, to play with the tools in the car, to really get an understanding of how the systems are working. And I think once comes Sunday, he really gets his...
doesn't Max Verstappen also do that? He just do the opposite way. He just are fast also.
Mind into the zone. He knows, okay, this is the car he's gonna get available to him, and he's just dealing with that. And we've seen Lewis often much stronger on race day than let's say his qualifying performances, although they're still very good. I think he's an outstanding racer. He has an incredible feel for the tires, and so did George obviously today as well, managing the tires perfectly, crossing the line first. So I think this result came a little bit as a surprise to Mercedes as well.
Win number 105 for Lewis Hamilton,
Oh, shit,
Tom. I
fuck
mean,
me.
The 5th victory here in Spa, it then became.
yeah, and it's funny, the greats do win at this race.
Yeah, the only thing that happened, I killed some zombies and collected some more fishes. So nothing important. It was no
Don't
Trident
they? Michael Schumacher 6,
zombie
Senna
fight.
5, Lewis Hamilton 5. There's something about this place.
There's no doubt he did well, and he would probably.
It's something. Fuck off, Tom Clarkson. Fucking. The fuck do you mean? It's something with the place. This is something with the place forever. Fucking McLaren gamble, no victory also. It's something with the place that makes McLaren can't win this race.
Probably also like
What
to
are you
have
talking about?
done the race a little different, because he was disappointed on the podium, no doubt. Yeah, now he's a Grand Prix winner again, but the circumstances, it's always, it also matters.
I mean, like something with the race that made George Russell easily almost won this race with one pit stop. What the fuck do you say about that then, Tom Clarkson? Fucking smart ass brick.
For a driver. But nevertheless, Mercedes are really back in the game again, and you can see the whole team, the whole vibe.
That's because fucking McLaren are ruined. They're gambling away races when they can win. Come on.
When they cross the finish line, and there's confidence in the team again. For 2 years, they have been really sometimes crawling out of the paddock.
3rd win in 4 races. I think they deserve to have that confidence.
No doubt. I mean, this was a 1-2. I would, call it a 1-2. I know it doesn't count, but in the end of the day, they were racing for 1-2 today. I mean, Austria, we know, was a little different. There was a little contact with Maax and.
Yeah, fucking retard Tom Clarkson. 3 races in a row. Yeah, wonder fucking why it was 3 races. McLaren should easily have won that race, and Max Verstappen P2. And then Silverstone, fucking McLaren should have won that also. Machines aren't better. McLaren is just fucking up a lot. Holy shit. But yeah, Tom Clarkson, the Brit, the brain dead Brit.
And Lando creating the opportunity there, and probably also at Silverstone, of course.
5 minutes in is 43 minutes. So we have 38 fucking minutes of this. With fucking Tom Clarkson. Oh, British bias. Yeah, I wonder why people have even mentioned British bias on people. Just listen to fucking British people, and then you will fucking know why it's fucking British bias. Well, the fucking talking point is so fucking stupid. Holy shit.
Lewis took it very much, but probably McLaren could have done a little bit better strategy, and maybe Lewis would not have won. But here, they won. They qualified well in the wet. They took all the things they could of the tools and in terms of strategy, and they made a 1-2. I know it's not a 1-2, but it was great racing.
It was 1-2 on the tell.
Great racing. From fucking where? Where the fuck was this great racing? You mean the fucking last laps? That then got removed because George Russell was disqualified in the end? So it didn't fucking matter? You mean that last laps? Or the last lap with Oscar Piastri, that also was the last laps? Nothing in the middle or in the beginning that they do anything. It was fucking Monaco without the walls.
Ellie.
Again.
But of course, before the disqualification. Stoff, can I ask you about George Russell? First time you've been on the pod this year. Have you been surprised by him? Because he's had the edge on Lewis in qualifying. He's now had...
Are you surprised? You mean nobody can fucking beat Lewis Hamilton? Wow.
Who wins? This one doesn't count in the history books, but in terms of how he executed this Grand Prix, it was a brilliant drive by him. Do you think he's at a different level this year?
Brilliant drive, or he tried something that nobody for some reason didn't even also try. One stopper. I don't know. Some people did, but they were so further down. So, I mean, I think Alonso was the only one that actually succeeded with maybe a one stopper that actually gave some points. I mean, could Max Verstappen done it? Lando Norris, I mean, when he did the best start, could he just, hey, fuck it, do a one stopper, and then could he have won the race? But only George Russell in the top team that did that. So it's like, did he do something amazing, or could everyone have done that?
It certainly looks like, and you know, your question, am I surprised, yes or no? I think my reply is yes, but also no, because George, you know, he's a guy that won in all the junior series that he came through, so he's obviously very talented. Had a couple of years at Williams and was showing already incredible qualifying pace. I think already Mercedes back then, they could really see, you know, how fast he was and what pure speed he had, but they also saw how good he was at managing tires. So that is something that George, he had it already. I think he has it naturally in him to manage the tires well. So then obviously he came into Mercedes.
Lewis Hamilton can also do that, but he didn't try, or didn't think he should have done it because the team didn't think he should.
It is, and probably that puts the pressure to a whole different level. You're stepping into the team next to Lewis Hamilton, who is, you know, the driver that broke all these records. But he's held up incredibly well. He's, you know, kind of consistently qualified very well since almost since day one he's arrived in Mercedes. And yes, he had his rough patches where he had this crash in Singapore. I'm sure there's some other races where he had his couple of glitches.
That crash was so amazing. Lando Norris just, I don't know what to call it. He touched the wall, but because he was so close to the wall and George Russell just followed him, he went in 100% in the wall and crashed out. I mean, that how to make your opponent crash out in the best way ever.
Let's say, but he's
and then Alonso also did it, but he got penalty for it. That's mean. I mean, if you can make the driver behind you crashing out, shouldn't you get like a something for it? Like the most amazing drive ever.
He's maturing and he's very much delivering week in, week out.
I mean, Michael Schumacher should maybe have learned this. How to make the person behind you crash out without even touching them. Then you can maybe have one more championship.
So I think we all agree that Mercedes are going to be a force in the second half of this
No.
season. Let's bring it on now to McLaren, to Oscar Piastri.
Oh, well. How the car is, no. How the fucking team used the car, yes. I mean, McLaren should be the one that are fighting against Red Bull, not fucking Mercedes. But Mercedes are actually doing good stuff in the race that McLaren aren't doing. So I would say both no and yes on that. So Tom Clarkson, this time you're half right, but man, shut the fuck up.
Who with Russell's disqualification takes P2 after winning his first Grand Prix in Hungary. Here's what the Australian made of his race.
Pretty happy on the whole. We executed a great race.
Shit, I thought he said, oh, like you're talking about someone from Austria. And I'm like, who the fuck is from Austria? You're trying to talk about Jochen Rindt?
Had a
Maybe
quick
Helmut Marko.
car and ultimately just didn't put it in the right position in qualifying yesterday. So I think given where we started, very happy, but ultimately I think there was a bit more potential this weekend.
Do you think this is one of your best races in Formula One to date?
I would say so. I'm not sure my front jack man agrees, but no, I think it was a really strong race. I think to try and get past Charles was not easy, and I think if I didn't manage to do it on that lap, I probably would have been stuck there for a long time. So that was a pretty pivotal moment of the race, and I think just the pace was very strong. So I felt very, very good this weekend. Even on Friday, the pace looked really strong. Just kicking myself a little bit that I didn't get qualifying right. But yeah, I think it was a very strong weekend and probably one of my better races.
Tom, were you surprised that Piastri wasn't able to put himself in the mix for the win in the final stages?
I was surprised that Mercedes was so strong. I didn't expect that today, so I was surprised on that side. So, but Piastri was strong here. We already learned that last year in his first year with McLaren. He was very strong here at Spa, and so the way the race unfolded right from the go, Landooooo were running wide at turn 1 and losing positions. So in that sense, as a driver in a team, he was the only one up there at the very front. And I thought he was going to get closer, but as the race gone to a half, I already could see that Lewis Hamilton would win it. At the same point, a few laps later, I realized if George stays out, it's going to be close.
Oh shit.
But they took me.
That we need to write down. Minus 29. Let's see, how much would that be? 29, so 30, 35, 29, 50, 60, 64. No, you can continue it.
I wish, but
Oh shit.
what about Lando Norris?
They did.
Paper almost, like it puts so much heat. It definitely does help, but I think today there was also an unknown factor. There was
Rapidly. I think we stick with plan A. Stick with plan A at the very surprise on that side. So,
Okay,
but Piastri was strong here. We already learned that last year in his first year with McLaren. He was very strong here at Spa, and so the way the race unfolded right from the go, Landooooo were running wide at turn 1 and losing positions. So in that sense, as a driver in a team, he was the only one up there at the very front. And I thought he was going to get closer, but as the race gone to a half, I already could see that Lewis Hamilton would win it. At the same point, a few laps later, I realized if George stays out, it's going to be close. But they took me a long way into the race to see that.
And Oscar's tyres were only 1 lap older than George Russell's.
But Oscar was asked on the radio, how are you holding up? What do you think with the tyres? What are we doing? And he replied rapidly, I think we stick with plan A. Stick with plan A. So it was not in his thought of doing a one-stop.
But how much experience do you need to be able to do a one-stop on these Pirelli tyres? Because Oscar, I feel, he's just getting better and better. He's like a fine wine, isn't he? And we don't know what the ultimate limit for him is going to be. But I think tyre management is one area where he's making more and more progress.
Yeah, he definitely made a good step in the last couple of races, and I think up until a few races ago, that's probably the area he was lacking still a little bit compared to Lando. But in the recent races, there was virtually nothing between both of them in the race conditions, and those races, experience definitely does help. But I think today there was also an unknown factor. There was a lot of parts of this racetrack have been resurfaced, and it's changed massively on the tire behavior. So I think for everyone it was a little bit of an unknown, and everyone had to feel for their own how the tires were coping on the new surface. And it turned out
grippy surface.
A very grippy surface, and it turned out the degradation was less.
What does that do to tire wear and tire deg, a grippier surface?
Basically the surface is smoother. The old surface here is like sandpaper almost. Like it puts so much heat, energy into the tires, and this circuit has always been known as a very high energy circuit where the tires go off very quickly. But a couple of key corners have been resurfaced, and that's reduced the energy on the tires a lot during these races. And I think that's why the one stop really had a very good chance today.
So why did more people not do it? I mean, I'm being an armchair strategist now, and I'm very good at that. I appreciate
Alonso did
it. Alonso did it, of course, with your Aston hat on. But they were the only two in the top 10.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were probably focused on racing each other and trying to cover each other off, rather than probably thinking how does the tire actually feel. And I think that's also why Lewis probably feels a little bit annoyed after this race, because he felt the tires were good, but he probably wasn't vocal enough that they could go longer on the tires and try the one stop.
And there was the fact that they knew probably that some will not do it, like Red Bull, because they only had one set of hard tires. So that's also into the equation. And then yesterday was a wet day, so they didn't have all the data, were not all prepared into a race, which turns out to be at least 10 degrees warmer on the track on coming race day Sunday.
TK, that's a good point. How much of an unknown from a track condition point of view was it for the teams because of all the rain we've had this weekend?
They would expect it to be harder on the tire, because when it goes green, let's say that when it's washed off, the rubber is washed off, and as Stoffel explains about the energy of this circuit, there's quite a lot of very long corners here, and that of course keeps the heat on these tires, and also you will be very fragile to graining. And of course, that immediately everyone was talking it's going to be a two-stop. And I think even somebody, if you ask them, they would probably even think it could be a three-stop if you ask some of the teams before the race today, in my mind.
What about Lando Norris? He comes home fifth with George's disqualification, but he lost 3 positions in the first 2 laps.
I still
He seemed very down after the race. I felt he made a mistake at turn 1.
I think he lost the most. No stuff.
Yeah, in turn 1 he ran a little bit over the rumble strip.
And there's gravel now.
Lost momentum, and then with the speed difference, lost a couple of places there. And I think he'll be kicking himself because, after qualifying on pole in Hungary, losing the lead in lap 1, and looking at the stats of his lap 1. They've not been very good recently, let's say, so he'll definitely be very annoyed by that. And, it just puts yourself in such a difficult condition after lap 1, because ultimately after that you had the top 4 teams fighting it out. They were very closely matched, and they were just fighting in a DRS train.
I was really surprised that Lando didn't start higher up. I mean, McLaren were 1-2 in Friday practice, and then when the rain came on Saturday, I was reminded of 2021 when, he had a big accident at Eau Rouge in the end, but up until that point, he was ludicrously fast in the wet conditions around Spa. He loves this place, and yet Saturday, Sunday, I felt he never quite got into a rhythm with that car around this racetrack, which I was surprised at, and I think he is disappointed by that as well.
No doubt it was powerful that he lost out in the beginning, and in the DRS train he was very vulnerable. He was in dirty air. It was very tough for him. But qualifying was outstanding. Maax, if we had the first in Q1, he goes out and his first flying lap, boom, was it 1.5 seconds faster than anyone, and that saved them a tire. That saved Red Bull a tire so they were on the upper hand the whole time. But of course, with his 10 grid penalty, you would expect to have seen Lando and the McLaren further forward. But actually, it was Charles Leclerc, but it was also Lewis, who was a bit disappointed not to be at least ahead of Checo Perez.
Tom, you mentioned Max Verstappen, and let's just talk in a little bit more depth about that. That 1.5 seconds in Q1. How difficult is it to find the limit immediately?
Confidence.
Yeah, it's and I wouldn't just look at qualifying. Just look at his very first lap of the weekend. He was like 2 seconds clear of everyone. Max is absolutely flying around this place. He loves this track, and he is just super confident with the car. He knows exactly what to expect. And already from lap 1 this weekend, he looked like, you know, he was gonna be the candidate for a pole position. Of course, very different conditions in qualifying, but in the wet, he was just outstanding. He has this natural feel with the car to make it happen on lap 1.
And he did gain positions on lap 1 in the race. I still felt he was on for a podium. I was surprised he didn't make his way through. Maybe...
Yeah, the progress was not as much as expected.
Well, why do we think that was? Do you think the DRS zone being 75 metres shorter than last year, is that a factor?
That's a factor. And the fact is that team have caught up. Teams are better. You see his DRS is not as powerful as it used to be. That's clear. I mean, of course, there's a little bit of different air configuration. I'm not a technician in that sense, but of course, having wet yesterday and racing today is a little compromise being made with a few things. But in generally, the Red Bull is not as strong car as it was, certainly not as last year. And it's not as powerful when he gets into DRS.
Well, and it's now 4 races without a Max Verstappen win, and we haven't said that for a while, have we?
No, it's, you know, us loving the sport from the side or from the outside or wherever we are. I mean, it's great. Formula One has never been closer in that sense, and it's nice on unpredictable times. I mean, as I said, I didn't expect Mercedes. I would not have put my money on Mercedes, certainly not after Friday.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty now, that every weekend between those 3-4 teams, they're so close together that if one team just, you know, nails it, they're on to win the race. If you don't nail it, you pay a big price now.
Yeah, but you need to make a good first lap as well. You don't need to overshoot the pit stop. I mean, we saw that actually Oscar Piastri was very close on that one.
He actually said something in the press conference about that. He said that his first pit stop, because Lewis had been coming out of his pit box, he said he undercooked it and he had to let the brake off and to get to his marks. Yeah. So he overcooked it. He just said I came in too hot for that second one, and then the front jackman took the brunt of it.
Yeah, but he got a few seconds of fame there afterwards when he was a bit hurt, but not more than he put on a big smile, which was good to see.
In terms of the pecking order, in terms of teams, do we think, okay, Mercedes had the fastest car in the race, or was it McLaren?
That's actually very close. I would say it's difficult to say, very, very close, but I would say before this race, you would say that the first 14 races coming into a status now, McLaren has a little bit the upper hand, and I think they have. Also, when you look at it's different, very different circuit dynamics from Hungary to here, but when you look at all the last 4 different circuits, they are also different, and then I would say McLaren, but there's no doubt that the confidence in a team and the delivery from the 2 drivers of Mercedes is getting there. And Ferrari was also happy to be a little bit faster and back again. But are they really, when you look at where Max Verstappen started from?
Look, we'll come on to Ferrari in a minute. Red Bull felt like a one-car team again today. I thought from P2 on the grid, this was a golden opportunity for Checo Perez to prove his worth. I thought his confidence was up after qualifying, and yet it was underwhelming again. And he finished 8th on the road.
No fucking rain. If it was rain, let's see what the Sergio Perez could have done then.
7th after Russell's disqualification. Okay, he put on some soft tyres at the end and got fastest lap for the team. That's another point for the team. Do you think this is his last race for Red Bull?
It isn't.
I really don't know anymore what to think, to be honest. But yeah, it was a pretty underwhelming race, I would say. I think he kind of hung in there in the first stint of the race, but as soon as the first pit stop got done, the gap just kept increasing lap after lap. So He didn't do Maax any favors as well at
For
some
some
point.
reason
I
it
think,
did.
you know, the team probably could have played a little bit of a better game to
They could.
give Maax the clean air. He would have had an undercut on some people that he was fighting. So, yeah, I would say wait and see. Apparently, Helmut Marko is having a meeting.
Well, not more than that. I've actually
Yeah,
just
the meeting have happened, and Sir Perez is still in Formula, in Redbull. At least some races, and then he will maybe get kicked out.
spoken to someone at Red Bull, and it is happening. Ricardo and Lawson are driving a 2-year-old V-Carb at Imola this coming week. I said, is it a shootout? And the
Maybe it's time for Ricardo to find a place in Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber if he shows that Leon Lawson is faster.
guy said, oh, I wouldn't call it a shootout. Well, I'm not quite sure what it is if it's not a shootout, but
They're not in the car at the same time, at least. But there's no doubt that there's 5 drivers at Red Bull.
And for some reason, people thought that Red Bull would wanna pick up Carlos Sainz. I mean, they have already 5 drivers, but the fuck wouldn't pick up a 6th one? That will just be bad.
With the 2 cars, and Tsunoda is safe. Verstappen is safe, and there's only 2 other seats. So is that happening just for the RB car, or is it also in terms of the Red Bull car? That could be the next question. But I would say, I mean, it's tough for Checo Perez also to know that a faster car is coming from the back. It's tough to deliver, but he has not been consistent enough. And it was great to hear him yesterday in qualifying on the in-lap. Hey, let's kick some ass tomorrow. But I think Stoffel is right. That's not what he did. But it's...
Well, the biggest problem is Red Bull is not making a good car also, so... And thankfully, Max Verstappen is... for maybe his own winning, is behind Sir Perez. That the car is bad. Fix the car first, and then you can remove Perez if he's still bad.
He's not scoring enough to deserve the place on the long term. So it's just a matter of when. But we have said that a long time.
look, you use the word confidence to describe Max Verstappen being able to go out and set a Q1 lap 1.5.
Well, it was in the rain also, so when the car was maybe his best.
Half seconds faster than anyone else. Is it a lack of confidence? Is that Checo's problem?
Probably also it's the whole environment. If you start to get into your head that you're struggling, you're not doing it right.
I mean, he fucking qualified third, then got started second, so I mean, that I would say is already better. I mean, his qualifying crashing in Q1. It was maybe it was close to crashing, but nothing that we saw on the TV. So already there we have progress with Sir Perez.
What do you need to do better? And sometimes you also will overdrive. You will also overdo it because you need to do well. And sometimes overdriving and actually can really hit you hard in the feet as well.
And also, Redbull's strategy with Perez in qualifying is maybe the super terrible. So if they stop giving him stuff to do that he can't do, I mean, his qualifying would have never been bad.
I think also the game just has changed. Like, you now have 4 teams that are fighting very closely together, and
Fuck off.
before, when the Red Bull had such an advantage, even if he was a little bit behind Maax, he was still P2 on the road. Now, all these cars, or there's 8 cars within a couple of tenths of a second, and if you're a little bit off, you're suddenly 8 on the grid. So I think Red Bull having such a big advantage last year kind of helped Checo a little bit as well, and then everything becomes a little bit easier because you're, you know, kind of just focusing on your teammate. You don't have to deal with the pressure of all the others around as
100%
well.
right,
But Red Bull needs somebody scoring more points in to retain the constructors'
Especially right
title, and
now.
that's very
Red
important.
Bull need to be fucking safe when they're visiting Mexico. I mean, do you want them to have a death wish? A suicide pact? If they remove Perez and then visit Mexico? It's like, then you're really staring death in the eye.
Important, and everyone else, the teams we talk about, they can really smell the
Defense Minister of Mexico will come out with his army and supporters, and it will be a nightmare for Red Bull.
glory of taking a constructors' title away from Red Bull, and there's nothing more that they wanted to do than that.
They can also win a label also, maybe so they can try next season to win it. Party music. So Perez is still in Red Bull.
Now, Ferrari. Charles Leclerc starts on pole, as he did last year, and this time with Russell's disqualification, he ends up...
Charles Leclerc have got one more race when he start in pole position and someone else won the race.
P3. The Ferrari, like the Red Bull, seem to come alive in the wet conditions here. Can one of you explain why a car can be so good in the wet round here and yet in the dry conditions fade?
I think Charles is...
Man, you fucking retarded, Tom Clarkson. You mean this is the first time Charles Leclerc gets pole position when his car shouldn't be in pole position? Do you fucking mean that? Or is this maybe not the first time? And Charles Leclerc is so good at qualifying that he puts the car where it shouldn't be.
He's an incredible qualifier, and he always in Q3 somehow manages to make this special lap. And he did it again in the wet conditions.
And you fucking people that you're talking to knows more than fucking you. Man, Tom Clarkson, you maybe should leave this F1 Nation podcast.
I think it was a really good lap.
Maybe bring on Max Verstappen, because his podcast have apparently ended in Formula 1. I don't know, did he get kicked from the podcast? I mean, he's not been seen for many races now.
From Charles in the wet. But ultimately, I think Ferrari are still a little bit behind. Actually, if you look the gap to the top, it wasn't that far. But I think they're just a little bit behind. And I think Charles often manages to do something special in Q3. Qualify that car a little bit higher than where maybe should be. But ultimately, they're still lacking a little bit of pace.
I think he did a good race, and actually Carlos starting on the...
My fuck me. Was that the person from Aston Martin that could give so much expert information about Charles Leclerc, but maybe less expert information on when information about Aston Martin / Lance Stroll is mentioned? Then it goes to a lot of copium.
The hard tire, everyone started on the medium more or less, but him starting on the hard, and then he was leading.
This is the guy. I don't know the difference between the two.
He was
people.
going long, and were they thinking about a one stop there? Normally it would be the other way around, but he was on the hard and made a mistake at Stavolo, and I lost him at least, I don't know, 5-6 seconds at least. But they were racing okay, but I that's why I think that they're just a little bit behind the other three, if you say top teams.
Were you surprised that more drivers didn't start the race on the hard tyre?
Not really, but I mean, who was it more? There was Tsunoda, and maybe there was Hülkenberg. I think not
and
even.
Ricciardo was on the soft.
Yeah,
but at the front, all the front runners were on the medium.
All the medium, apart from Sainz.
I think it just gives you the most flexibility to then convert to a one-stop
by starting on the medium.
Starting on the medium, yes.
But it would give Ferrari the chance to have done it, maybe, because obviously they will have the info on Carlos to do it on Charles.
Now we have.
No, do we have Ferrari messing the pit stop up, and they didn't get a win? Probably not. more McLaren.
Of a man dressed in green, Stoffel. Are you excited, by the way? You're doing 2 days of testing in the car here at Spa, starting on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Okay, so I was right with the person from Aston Martin. Man, that's weird that he can give so great information about Charles Leclerc, but not fucking Lance Stroll. Wonder why.
I mean, I don't have a lot of opportunities to drive a Formula One car as a reserve driver, so to be able to, to get 2 days is fantastic, and to do it in Spa, it's my home country as well. It's definitely one of my favorite circuits. I'm gonna have a lot of fun out there.
What do you think is going to be the biggest surprise for you?
The biggest surprise is just getting your brain rewired, because these cars, nothing prepares you for it. They're so fast, they produce so much downforce. The cornering speeds, you don't experience it in any other car. And I do race some other fast cars.
You're racing in WEC, you race in FE, and is this just a completely different galaxy?
When were you last time in an F1 car?
It was exactly last year, here as well, but it was wet.
Did it feel quick in the wet?
It felt quick. Because even in the wet, these cars produce a lot of downforce. Okay, the low speed corners, they are slippery and you feel the weight of the car. But as soon as you go above 200 kph, they produce a lot of downforce. And even in the wet, it was still impressive compared to anything else.
Well, what about the race for Aston Martin? Because, I mean, Alonso back in the points, but Lance Stroll came on the radio and said he had poor straight line speed. He had a crash, of course, in FP3.
Oh, right. Did it say when? Oh, let's see. I might think about another person. Let's see, did it say something about who is on this fucking show? Tom Christensen, yes. Stoffel Van Dorn. Okay, so that's not the guy I'm thinking about. That was in that have been on. That are from Aston Martin.
Just before qualifying, just how's the weekend been? Is there a bit of frustration building?
It was a difficult one. I think we all expected to have a little bit of a more competitive weekend. Just because of our characteristics with the car, we thought we were gonna have a little bit better straight line speed, which ultimately it didn't turn out. We had great straight line speed.
But apparently it's maybe also from Aston Martin. So let's see if he can talk about Lance Stroll like everyone else, or if he have copium when he's talking about Lance Stroll.
So we're kind of just a bit on the back foot, and
is this Alonso or just Lance Stroll?
I would say with Fernando we were a little bit in no man's land. So he was
the fuck was
kind
Lance
of,
Stroll then?
how we call it. He kind of had a victory of the second group of teams, let's say. So ultimately we were quite far behind behind the leaders, and just ahead of the the remaining teams, let's say. But
I mean, this one looked like the tomato, whatever it's called. Let's see if we can find it.
Unfortunately, that's the reality we're in right now. We're kind of in that area where we're quite far from the leaders. We're maybe just a little bit ahead of the others. But it's, there's a long road ahead of us.
What about that road? We've got 10 races to go. Is the team I mean, Alonso said in Hungary that all he wants from the second half of the season is to get the team on the right path so that he can have, I think he said...
Oh no. The fuck do you mean the right? The right side? The far right? The under right? The extreme right?
A normal season in 2025. Are we close to getting on the right path with this car?
I don't think we're just there yet. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but we can still do an awful lot in the second part of the year, like Fernando said, to make things better for next season. I mean, pushing through upgrades is hard, but I think it's more about the understanding of the philosophy of these cars, what it needs, what characteristics it needs, and I think that's where the top teams are doing very good right now. Is they know which areas to tackle, they know what to improve, and for us sometimes we bring things that work, we bring things that that doesn't quite work, and that's probably the area we need to focus on.
From Aston, are you using your own wind tunnel now? Because I believe that there was maybe a correlation from when you were using Mercedes for the Aston Martin racing. Is there a correlation there, or is there anything there which maybe is...
So the new wind tunnel is not ready yet, so we're not using it yet.
Okay,
It's gonna,
still not.
I think by the end of the year, we'll probably be in a position to use that one, which obviously will be a big benefit for the team. But also in the beginning, that's going to be challenging because it's a new tool that we're going to have to use. So there's going to be different way of working within the system, let's say. So it's not, you know, going to be better from day one. We're building a new sim as well, which is going to be, you know, ready towards the end of the year as well. So we're really putting all the possibilities there to be a successful team in the future. But I would say, you know,
will Lance Stroll still be in the car then? Or when you're talking about success, is when Yuki Tsunoda have joined the team, right?
Probably next year is where we need to build a very strong foundation for 2026, because 2026...
So, wait, fucking... Lance Stroll will be in the team, the fuck you mean? You will not build up any strong stuff with him. Oh no. You need to remove stuff from the inventory.
This is a big year.
Regulation
change. We have Honda coming on board with the team. That's going to be a huge challenge. And that's where we, I think, have an opportunity to create something special.
Huge opportunity. Now, one other team that is building for the future, let's put it that way.
Williams.
Alpine. Flavio Briatore.
No! Fuck off. Fuck me, Alpine. Williams is more the fucking future.
Came in as executive advisor at the Spanish Grand Prix a month ago. This weekend in Belgium, ironically 12 months on from when Otmar Safnauer was released by the team, Bruno Famin has now announced that he'll step down as team principal. So they're getting through their team principals there, but Flavio will tell you that it's all about building for the future.
Yeah. So I would say they somewhat look like similar. Let's see, is this the... Fuck me, I have so much stuff in inventory. I think it's the tomato, whatever, tomato red, whatever it's called. Go away. Go away, go away. Go away. Oh no. Let's see. Oh, instead of taking off, we can just look at the on the internet. If it's the only fish that we have. Let's see. Yeah, the only one that are red and white that you can maybe think is look the same. Are you still here? There you are. Tomato clownfish. Where the fuck did he go? See if we can get a good screenshot. I mean, from the other fish that I've find, they don't look that similar. But for an untrained eye, you can maybe think it's similar. I mean, they have the same colors, like red and white. But that's how whatever it's called, how they look is different. Let's. Do we have the stuff? Yes. Back to that. No. That one we want to take up. And this one we also want to take up because we want it not to still be in the sea. No. F1, no. F3. We are in. The fuck do you see that? Biome. No, biome. Deep ocean. Yeah. So we don't have this fish swimming around in the deep ocean around the base. Yep,
and Ocon did put it, well, P9 in the results
Clarkson.
after the disqualification for Russell.
Oh shit, where are we? So Martin. What the fuck, Alpine? We talk about Alpine. What the fuck do we mention Russell? What the fuck is happening?
So they're getting through their team principles there, but Flavio will tell you that it's all about building for the future. And Ocon did put it, well, P9 in the results after the disqualification for Russell. The car does
Now I understand why the fucking mention Russell.
Seem to be getting better. Let's talk about the race first of all. Given that car has a power deficit and this is a power track, you could argue that chassis must be making progress.
I think they have a very efficient aero package for a track like this because the Alpines were flying on the straight this weekend. They were very fast. Their race pace was actually not bad, and I think Esteban maybe could have done the one stop as well. There are some circuits where they are kind of in the game, let's say, but they seem to have quite a big swings between one circuit and another one.
Tom, let's talk about the team structure at Alpine now. You have won Le Mans 9 times. You know how important the team aspect is in motorsport. How disruptive is a constant change? A revolving door at the top of a team. How disruptive is that to everybody below?
In the short term, it's of course a setback all the time. I would imagine. Obviously, things are happening for reasons, and they have at the moment the reasons are likely that the Renault engine won't be supplied maybe in the long term when you go into the new regulation. So probably it's already.
And how much money will Alpine / Renault saving by not making their own engine? Maybe they should have. Maybe they should have done that since. 2015, 2014. I mean, after 2014, they should maybe have stopped doing their own engine. Holy shit. So much time wasted. So much money wasted.
What you're seeing happening is how they are going forward and really thinking for 2026, I imagine. But yes, it's disruptive, but sometimes management at the high of these big manufacturers, when they are changing, they tend to want to have a clean line with the people they set a team and having a dialogue with who they trust and believe in, and yes, there are some changes now. There's rumors about Ollie Oakes, the high-tech boss, will come in and lead a team. So things are
fucking that will happen. Fucking someone from high-tech. So weird. Who knows? Will Paul Aron get the Alpine seat because the high-tech guy.
Already materialized. It's not official yet, but looks like that's the way we are
100%
going.
Yellow.
Gasly
Yep.
is safe for
The
next
actual
year as a
yellow.
contract. Who will be in the second car?
They
Will it-
want Sainz.
They want Sainz, they want Duhan. I mean, everyone.
Science, yeah. When does this come out? 29. It was okay. So you can say 29. So 1 day. Okay, 2 days ago. 2 days ago, this come out, and one yesterday. No, yes, yesterday. Oh well, after this podcast, news came out that color signs have signed for Williams, and now we have news that Sir Perez is still in the Red Bull.
One at the moment wants Sainz. There's just a few teams left, of course. So that's going to be interesting in the to speak about the driver market.
So for me, I'm hoping to Mick Schumacher to join the team, so they can maybe do celebration. Well, they can do celebration, but do something with the Mercedes, the new Mercedes engine for the team. Or, if they want to sell the team, you bring on Jogan Yo, makes a more Chinese team, more Chinese people want to invest in Alpine, and then Alpine can become a Chinese Formula 1 team, and then they can bring back their Lotus team from the what's they called? Yeah, I don't remember now. What's they called? Giri, I believe, that owns the Lotus. Could be part of the team
As well, but Alpine, I don't see exactly the direction. Understand the changes. I love Bruno Firmin from Le Mans when he was there with Peugeot. He's an old school man, but you could also see that he, a little bit kind of saying it's time to give the what do you call
to say goodbye. That song maybe there. Wait. Information. Where do we go? Here. Time to say goodbye. Okay, singer, where do we have him? Okay, maybe we shouldn't sing a fucking... Okay. Let's see if we can find... No, don't say it is from Italy. Yeah, Italy. That's why it was a massive hit. In France and Switzerland, the single topped the charts for 6 weeks, earning a triple gold sales award. But Belgium, okay, sure. Huh, interesting. Thought it was more France, but apparently it's Italy. Oh shit. Wait, did I click on the right song? The fuck is this? Oh, maybe I clicked on the person. The fuck? Okay, so it was right. Back to
the post to somebody else.
Pass the baton on.
Pass the baton on. Due to the thing which is going on, he tried for 1 year to do the best, and I think, as Stoffel said before, they have done some pretty good results. Even they started terrible at the beginning of the year, probably with an overweight Kyle and whatever, but they have been very good, and probably they would have both had got points in Monaco if they didn't run into each other. That has also been a little backfire with the two French drivers.
Well,
in
and
the team.
we saw Bruno's temper in Monaco, didn't we?
Yeah, there he was on fire.
And of course, actually, Ocon was in the line of fire at Monaco, and he's now announced this weekend that he's going to Haas, who's continually punch above their weight, it seems.
Yeah, I think
for now
the last couple of races for Haas have been, very impressive actually. And
well, between Monaco and Hungary, Nico Hülkenberg scored more points than Charles Leclerc.
That's impressive.
Yeah, what the fuck did Kevin Magnussen do on that time? Nothing.
With the help of Kevin at some point. But I mean, this weekend they were struggling actually here in Spa, but I think that car is. And Nico as well, he's a qualifying animal. I think he's been very impressive in qualifying, but the car also, I think historically they've been very good at qualifying, and they have always struggled in the race pace, and I think that's something where they've made a massive step compared to the last couple of years, is they've managed to cure their tire degradation, and
I think it really happened in the beginning of this year, the pre-test in Bahrain. They really made a completely focus on the II or Komatsu. They really focused on the technical, just about the race pace, and they were more or less dead last every day at the pre-test, and of course everyone was worrying. But when you then came and they actually had the first Sunday there, it went on, and you could see that the whole team also came alive, and Nico and Kevin are doing very well. But I agree, and Nico is probably driving the best.
Man, Oliver Behrman and Esteban Ogone in that team. They surely will score some points, but man, Haas will lose out so much because of losing Nico Hülkenberg.
Ever in his life around this qualifying. I know it's maybe many years ago, maybe it was 2012, I don't know, you can tell me, Tom, when he was on pole with the Williams in Brazil. 2010, yeah.
Interlagos, 2010.
Exactly.
In wet, dry conditions, actually. It was a drying line, I seem to remember. Yeah, Hülkenberg on fire.
On fire. I would like to get him a little bit better off the line. I mean, the first laps, I have to say, Kevin has always been super strong, and then they raced pretty close together on Sundays, but Hülkenberg's point score has been very impressive for Haas.
A former Le Mans winner himself, 2015.
So he has to be good.
Yeah, of course. With Russell's disqualification, the top 10 looks like this. Lewis Hamilton takes his 5th win at Spa and his 2nd of the season. Oscar Piastri is 2nd, giving McLaren their 10th podium in a row, and Charles Leclerc is 3rd for Ferrari. Max Verstappen is 4th, his lowest finish at Spa since 2019. Norris is 5th, Sainz is 6th, and Perez is 7th, after also taking the fastest lap. Alonso finishes 8th for the 2nd time in 3 races. Ocon gets his best result of the season in 9th, and Ricciardo is the last of the point scorers in 10th. In the Drivers' Championship, Max Verstappen has extended his lead at the top to 78 points. Norris is 2nd, 22 points ahead of Leclerc in 3rd. Piastri is 4th, just 10 points back from Leclerc, with Sainz 5 points off Piastri in 5th. 6th is Belgian winner Lewis Hamilton on 150 points, 19 ahead of Perez in 7th. Russell is 8th, Alonso is 9th, and Stroll is 10th. In the Constructors' Championship, the top 3 are closing up. Red Bull lead the way on 408 points, with McLaren 2nd, just 42 points adrift, and Ferrari 3rd, 21 points back from McLaren. Mercedes are 4th on 266 points, and then there's a huge jump back to Aston Martin in 5th on 73 points. And then it gets close again. VCarb are 6th on 34, Haas are 7th on 27, Alpine 8th on 11 points, Williams are 9th on 4, and Sauber have yet to score.
Oh, and you missed something truly amazing. This information, Tom Clarkson. Valtteri Bottas is behind Lewis Sargent in the fucking driver standings. I mean, it must be depressing for Valtteri Bottas. I mean, Jürgen Joe, then Logan Sargent, and then we have fucking Valtteri Bottas. The fuck are you doing, Valtteri Bottas? Do you really believe you will be part of Formula 1 for next season if you fucking are behind these two? Oh my god. Stop with the copia, man. Just... Why keep being in Formula 1 when you can start fucking do the Tour de France? Or whatever biking stuff you... I mean, there could be something. He could try to, instead of driving Formula 1, he just drive his bike to every Formula 1 race. So he will probably have problems if he's trying to go on an airplane with his bike, but hey, we need to use his own private jet plane if you want his bike everywhere.
Well, guys, it's been brilliant to have you.
No. Let's see. Can we nudge?
Both on the show. Thank you for your time. We always end with our driver of the day. And I think...
Driver of the day. Who can be driver of the day? I mean, I would say George Russell, but man, the fact that he do get disqualified. And it's like nobody did anything. Maybe Daniel Ricciardo? Nah, probably not. Fernando Alonso.
I think for the sake of driver of the day, we can include the man who won the race on the road, if you so wish. But
no, okay.
Stoffel, who is your driver of the day here at Spa?
Fernando Alonso.
This is a really hard one.
Is that because so many drivers did a good job today?
Good job. They did nothing. They just drove after each other. Wow, you did a really good race when you drove in Monaco. Yeah, you mean that? Surely.
I think so, yes. I think there was such a close finish. I'm gonna have to say George because he was
Fernando Alonso.
Firm on his decision and he made it work.
No, he didn't. He got disqualified, so he didn't make it work. He needed to be more heavy in the car.
The strategy with the tire management and managed to hang on to victory.
If he hadn't made it work, if Hamilton had passed him, would he still have been your driver of the day?
I think he would have been definitely up there because I think in the position he was...
Surely Lance Stroll is maybe one of the driver of the day.
If he did a two-stop, he was going to be stuck in this P5 region, and switching the decision to go to one stop definitely would have given him a better result, and it gave him the victory. Even if he didn't win, I think he would have finished on the podium 100%.
Tom?
I think he sold that very, very well. I will also say George, but if Lewis had passed him in the end, I would have gone for him because it was close between those two, and Lewis realized it probably late that he was going to race a one-stopper, and he did that well. He then won the Grand Prix.
I'm going to say Hamilton because, of course, George was brilliant. He was brilliant, but I think it was a punt, that one stop. And actually, if you're looking purely at driving, I thought, Hamilton made a brilliant start.
No doubt he was fast in the first 10 laps.
Duking it out with Perez down the run to Eau Rouge. He's nearly 40, right?
Yeah, and Tom Clarkson, you should fucking, start Minecraft and then you go down in lava with all your stuff. And then you delete the world. Then you delete it from your computer. I mean, if Max Verstappen didn't have the penalty pool, done position stuff. Could he won the race?
And he
That's
is
nothing.
so feisty still.
He's got
And
it.
then,
So
you know,
feisty. Sounds like he was almost crying because they didn't win the race. The fuck do you mean feisty?
passes Leclerc on lap 3. He's utterly brilliant in those opening stages.
Until
And
George
I
Russell finished ahead of him. He was starting to cry.
thought he had the race won at that point. So
Yeah, but then the silent assassin, George Russell, came and made a one-stopper
one
work.
started
So
to cry after
I would
that.
say George 2 against 1, but Lewis a very, very,
I don't mind
very
you
good
disagreeing
race.
with me. That's fine.
So it's up open.
It's our last time on the podcast, by the way, Tom.
anyone can have their say, have their idea.
How much harder is it for Lewis, the fact that Russell made the one-stop work, his teammate? If Oscar Piastri had made
I
a
mean, from all the information I heard, you surely should already know that, how much he cried after that.
one-stop work and won the race, would that have been easier for Lewis to accept?
Yes, sure. But on the other hand, I like that it was communicated that they were open to race. And of course, that box is open due to the
Well,
fact
open to race, but don't take and make any unnecessary mistakes.
that Lewis Hamilton is going to Ferrari
Leclerc.
at next year. So I think that is also playing in the whole thing of that, you can say, intra-team fight there is. But I think it's just for us. It's just lovely to see. And as we are both close in putting them as driver of the day, that means they have both done a sterling job under the pressure.
And Lewis Hamilton, winner of the 2024 Belgian Grand Prix. Well, guys,
Well, I mean, just listen to the fucking smug fuck. Fucking British smug fuck. I mean, man, it's life support. He don't need a life support because Lewis Hamilton has now won a race. If he hadn't won a race, man, the life support for Tom Clarkson would be unreal. The copium, unreal. But because of this win, now Tom Clarkson can go away from the copium and the life support for at least one until the next race happens.
thank you very much. Stoffel, great to see you.
Thank you.
Have a great time.
Oh my god, the
testing.
life supporting copium when Lewis Hamilton is finding Ferrari. The fuck will all the British people do then?
In the Aston.
I will.
Do you know what tyres you're testing? Is it all
A lot of tires. I don't know yet which tires, but
it's 2025 tyres?
it will be 2025 tires. Yes.
Cool. Have a great time.
25.
Your
TK,
neck is gonna be brilliant.
How is
They're gonna
I'm
hate.
gonna wake up sore. That's a guarantee.
Tom, thank you very much as well. Pleasure to have you guys on. And of course, for more reaction and
No, pleasure to
analysis
have
from
you on.
Belgium, go to Formula1.com or the official Formula One app. And to get your tickets for races in the second half of this season, because we now have a bit of a break, the summer break is upon us. But from the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort to Austin, Las Vegas and beyond, do head to tickets.formula1.com. And we will be back next Monday with an in-depth review of the season so far. But thank you for
No,
listening.
don't.
F1 Nation is produced by Formula One and Audioboom Studios.
Okay, yeah, man. How the fuck did they find this fucking guy? Fucking Tom Clarkson. So annoying to listen to. Oh my god. Oh. Formula 1, Mercedes error, why Russell was disqualified in Belgium, Jan Palmers. Will I actually have information? Probably not, I don't know. I don't care. At least for today, maybe tomorrow. Okay, go away. Let's bring this up. No, we need to... 2035. We need to write that down that first. 2035. No, not 55, 35. 2035. 2035. Yes, that's done. So we have 2035 tropical fishes collected. So we have 665 more tropical fishes to collect. But it's going down. But slowly, minus 29. Okay, now we can go back to the thing I was planning to say. We will have, let's see, 23rd. So it will be, well, it's 24 days now, but this will be 23 days. When this day is over, it will be 23, but now it's 24 because a new day have started. So 24 days, and then we have Formula 1 in Netherlands. And hopefully Perez will be good then. Or the biggest, the more important thing, that Red Bull will have an upgrade so he can start being the winner, or at least be on a podium. Because man, people will soon believe that Max Verstappen have got kicked off his own podcast. I mean, like, will we maybe learn something that he might have said or done that made made them to remove him from the podcast? Who knows? And oh shit, latest. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what the seats. Red Bull is done for now. That's done. That's done. Maybe Antonelli. Mercedes will probably wait even more with Kym Antonelli. That's done for now. So next will probably be who will be in Alpine and Kick Sauber. I feel like it will be more easy for Alpine to say who will sit in Esteban Ogone's car. Because I believe when Red Bull decide either to keep Sergio Perez or promote Ricciardo, so they either way can promote Liam Lawson to Visa Cash Up RB Formula 1 team. Then I believe Stake Fontaine Kick Sauber can either sign Sergio Perez or Daniel Ricciardo. And Mercedes will 100% bring Kym Antonelli to the team. So Kick Sauber, eller Stake F1 team Kick Sauber will probably be the last one that can. Maybe Mercedes will be last just because for some reason. At least Alpine first, then Red Bull and Visa Cash Up RB Formula 1 team, Stake F1 team Kick Sauber, and then Mercedes. But who knows? But until more news will come, I will say, let's see, we can have this on.